Alright. Okay. Yo, what's up, Banky? Hello, hello. Howdy. Oh, shoot. Alright. It's been too long, that's what I'm saying. I'm good, I'm good. And thank you for the hydrate. How about yourself? What are you up to? What team have you chosen for the Splatfest? Are you based or do you enjoy vanilla or strawberry? No, I'm kidding. All flavors are good. Yo, reboomer. Honestly, that's the strawberry. I respect that. How you doing, Celeste? I feel like a reboomer. I have been slow and not as energetic. Gotta get back onto the routine. I'm excited for stuff, but they don't tell you about the effects of being a boomer. You can't. It's not just a quirky title. It comes with being old and not having energy. Just finished packing. Nice. Not doing anything particularly special currently, but just the ideas to make stuff and try. I don't know. I always overthink when it comes to making videos, and then I end up not making videos. Your inner fossil, yes, absolutely. The dust is settling. Welcome in, old man Gel. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Anyways. Yeah, we're just gonna get straight to reviews today. Let's keep it real. Let's get right into it. First one, we have something special from Fantar. Let the creative juices flow. True. I should, but sometimes I do funny things and don't. I just always like overwhelm myself with a lot of things. But I've gotten like this week I've gotten a little bit more like, I don't know. I work really well with like lists and everything, so I've been making a lot more list for everything. I'm on Frostbite with Pinky. You're currently looking for a fourth. Well, we have 4, but we don't have a 4th. One of our teammates has like a busy schedule currently, so we only have 3 regularly for a little bit, so if you know anyone, feel free to pass them along. Had one of your worst losing streaks of your life? It happens. Don't even worry about it. Midnight Trig, dude, imagine. Imagine playing comp and then anytime you lose, you just blame Trig. Literally anti-tilt. We're tilt proof. Oh, for Splatfest. Oh, oopsie. Mint chocolate chip. My bad. No one ever tells you about the blame Trig buff. Silly me. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna do something. Wait, wait, did I download it? I'm lost in the sauce. Okay, yeah, it's Fantar. Oh, Fantar playing Stamper. Interesting. Yeah, it's a high level scrim, so we'll definitely talk through some stuff, but this could also be a talk through and appreciate a lot of the little things that they do. Stamper. What's this like? Steve X. I don't even know who is in the lobby. Or enemies, yeah. I haven't had mint chocolate chip ice cream in so long. I need to go have that. So I think Phantar's name, at least in the matches they've joined recently, or like they've played in recently, is I think it's like 1500 V-Bucks or something. Which I don't know the relevance of 1500 when it comes to Fortnite. I don't know if that's like a meme or something, but I'm too boomer to investigate. Yeah, what's up, JV? Hello. Best team, that's what I'm saying. But I feel like a fake fan if I don't actually eat mint chocolate chip ice cream, so I'm at the find some somewhere and indulge. Actually, after the stream, maybe I'll get some mint chocolate chip ice cream. Actually sounds pretty good. We'll see. Anyways, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about video games. Oh, I was gonna ping them if they wanted to. They said it's a scrim, basically training for the French championship in a week. Oh, okay, so yeah, there's like a French tournament. I think there's like some online component to it a little bit ago, but yeah, I think this is like a part of a LAN, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to ask them for some clarification, but yeah. And they're playing against ASC Tenchi. Both two very, very good, I guess both French teams, but I know they're good EU teams that anytime I play in like a weekend tournament, they always show up and they perform. And if we have to run up against them, it's it's always a little bit scary. All right, anyways, give me 1 second just to get this in here. Yeah, I need to do a little bit of catch up and then move forward. So, okay. So, Rainmaker. Okay. Rainmaker's seen quite a bit on this this map, so not the most bizarre combination. It's probably the most popular on this map. Although I think zones on this map is okay, but we don't really play it in the West a lot. Oh, sorry, Old Man Gel. He said, since I picked up VDS, I've been doing amazing with the weapon. Now I'm at minus 109 points. Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes with time. Like, anytime that you learn a new weapon, things get worse before. I mean, honestly, that's a lot of things in life where, like, things get worse before they get better. You just kind of have to power through. And when you're playing solo, or you're like you're trying to play ranked, or you're trying to, like, learn something new, it's always good to get into the habit of reminding yourself, like, why you're playing. And why you're trying to, like, like your goal, especially when you're learning a new weapon, your goal isn't to like win every match. Your goal is to like evaluate all of the little decision points that you make and try to get better. You want to improve all of the decisions. You want to not have little things that the rest of your team can blame you about. And then over time, you'll become a better player, and over time you will you'll be like the better player. So don't worry about the lost streaks. We've all gone through it. Back when I played a lot of League of Legends back in college, I had I had some nights where I lost for. There's one night I lost like I think 13 hours in a row. Obviously, I was like tilted at the point and like I was not playing my best. But I kept doing the just one more. And I just wasted a bunch of time because I was so focused on like, I just need to win, instead of focusing on like winning the game and not focusing on the outcome. Yo, Jamie, these plushes in the Discord. Oh, this one's like a statue. Wait, is a statue Is that like custom? It looks really cool. Also, I have no idea what that Pokemon is. I truly am a boomer in every sense of the word. Yo, what's up? Hi, welcome in, welcome in. You're using motion? Nice, nice. It's same thing I was just mentioning with VDS also applies to you. You're gonna do worse, and then it'll over time it'll make sense. Because there was a time where I start like I feel like a lot of people, especially if you played other console shooters, like there's just a certain degree of like, oh, I'm just gonna play this game with sticks and not even try motion. Or maybe you try motion in like a training room and then it's like Pokemon Center store. Oh, okay, sick, sick. It looks really nice. So I don't know what the balloons are. I don't know if that's like Pokemon lore. My brain's the worst, but I'm a fan. One thing about figures that I never like think about is like someone actually has to paint that. I remember when like amiibos, which I guess they're still pretty popular, but when they were like, you know, constantly releasing them and like they were always sold out. I remember there's people that were like, oh, when I go in there, I like check all of the different amiibos and like I want to find the perfect one that's painted the way that I like it. Because like, oh, if this like sometimes, you know, and like there's a certain beauty to it, but like, you know, because I'm assuming they're hand painted, but how maybe not, I don't know. I don't know anything about the process, but you know, there's like different, I mean, it's the same thing with like cards and just everything. There's like little like faulty parts to it and everything has like its own little imperfections in it, which I think is really cool. But yeah. Dreaming of one day flying, it practices by leap. Aw. I didn't know there was like legit lore. Are you still doing the reviews on Discord? Yeah, I've been a little bit behind because life and life. But we're getting back on the horse. One weekend I need to do, which I think this weekend's probably pretty chill, so I'm probably gonna do like a long stream this weekend. I need to catch up with all the reviews because at some point there's gonna be a patch very soon, and I don't want to like once they announce the patch, I have to like put a cutoff on reviews temporarily because it like gets rid of all the old replays. And I want to make sure anyone that submitted a replay actually gets it reviewed. So I know we're pretty close. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Solus. But yeah, if you use this this Discord, just submit it in there. I know that you said you're part in both of them, but yeah, if you just direct yourself there, that'll work. Let me catch up real quick. Yo, what's up, Fizzy Boom? And thank you for the hydrate. Sorry. I'm like still waking up. Man, the balloons are so cute. Is it Bagon? Bagon? I'm not sure. Has a dream of one day soaring in the sky. In doomed efforts to fly, its Pokemon hurts itself on off cliffs. As a result of its dives, its head has grown tough. Its heart is tempered steel. Bagon harbors a never-ending dream of one day soaring. Bagon, gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate you. Bagon harbors a never-ending dream of one day soaring high among the clouds, as if trying to dispel its frustration over its inability to fly. Its Pokemon slams its hard head against huge rocks and shatters them into pebbles. Sheesh. That's actually inspirational. I'm gonna think of Bagon next time I'm going through something. Gotten better at Squeezer tap shooting ever since the review. Working on that autopiloting. Yeah, the decision making's hard, but like Squeezer also has the part where like the mechanics and like being good at that is also kind of hard. Although I was playing some Squeezer earlier this week. I actually think like sometimes playing Squeezer like wakes up my mechanics in a weird way. I don't know why or how, but like forces me to like focus up and stuff. But anyways, yeah, let's get into the review. So Rainmaker on this map is Final Evo entry, evolving into Solomon's. Oh wait, I've heard of that Pokemon. Flies the wheels all over the skies, spreading flames through its mouth. Dang. The happy ending. We love to see it. That's so interesting though. Are there a lot of Pokemon that have like interesting lore, I guess? I don't know. I like know nothing. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna be honest, I never read the Pokemon, like the Pokedex stuff. I just play the game. I just mash the A button and grind and beat the game. They all have a description. Yeah, I have to like read through them. Well, that's really cool though. I appreciate you sharing. Okay. So yeah, on this map, uh, we've talked about it a couple of times in the past. So this is us. So I'm gonna talk about things as if we're pushing this way. But usually people like going and playing for the first checkpoint on the left, just because there's a lot more room to maneuver and you have an easier time pushing up because you can, you know, there's this path to go through. There's also this longer path, and different weapons excel in different areas. But there's a lot more flexibility on this side. You can also push it to the right side is another thing. With the right side, you only have this one entry point on the far right, but and like you're fighting low ground. This is generally why it's not really played that much, because like people don't push right often because it's like a hard fight to take. But if your team's like snowballing and you're able to like hold forward, then I don't know. You can still get a lot of points really quick by like climbing up this slick area. So I don't think it's too bad. I also really like getting first checkpoint sometimes, and like I do it myself a lot. Like I'll default if my team's going down and we're at a numbers disadvantage and I need to back up. A lot of times I'll just cheat and default to moving over to like defend this checkpoint over here, because I just assume people don't use this. So if I notice the enemy team, if we still need to get first checkpoint and I notice the enemy team like setting up like over here, or even if they set up like here and here, sometimes I just force this because it's very fast and they're not in formation to defend. So, and I also think I honestly I've not seen enough competitive on this map mode to really understand, but I think Ray is a little bit more viable currently because like there's a lot of really good inkjet areas around this whole spot, and even potentially like over here. Like I think inkjet can get a lot of value. So, you know, people don't normally play for this. They usually play for this area with more room, but I think right is actually more interesting than people often give it credit for. But if we look at the two team comps, relatively standard stuff. Obviously, ballpoint and cooler is a very popular combination currently because it enables kind of what you're trying to do. In terms of like moving forward, inkjet is just absolutely busted right now, and you can get a lot of value from playing off of it. And you can also get jumps onto their landing if you get splatted while pushing in with the jet, which is usually pretty safe because if someone's jetting, which usually they'll jump from like a safe spot. Actually, I don't know, where would you jet on this map? Sometimes people jet up here and they'll go around. But wherever you jet, like usually you're gonna, so I don't know. Let's say that we had Rainmaker on this checkpoint and we're pushing it up, and then they like inkjet on top of this ring, and they're like playing up here with inkjet. Like we push the enemy line back enough to where if someone is pushing forward and gets splatted, we can jump back to this landing and keep the push going. Usually those jumps on the landing are pretty safe. So, yeah, inkjet is very strong. Cooler is also nice defensively against inkjet because you know that the enemy team is often going to be doing the same thing. And because of the just damage and strength of something like inkjet, you're probably just going to die. Or you have to give up, like, yeah, either you're giving up a ton of space for the inkjet to play around it, or you just get splatted. And it's a lot more forgiving to have a cooler. So it's really interesting to see that we decided not to play with a cooler on our team. I'd actually be really interested on why we opt for like a crab. I think crab's good on this map, but especially, well, it's just good in general. It's good on defense. It's good. It's okay on offense, but I still think it's pretty solid. But I do think between like cooler and like suction bombs and stuff, I think it can work as well. But nonetheless, we are not running Cooler, so that'll be interesting to see Cooler differential between the two teams. The other thing is we're running Slosher versus Sloshing Machine. Sloshing Machine, I'm wondering when it's going to get its like resurgence. I don't think it's like busted by any means. I think it's in like a good spot, but it's just the thing that happens in any competitive game. When something gets nerfed, people are extra, like it feels worse to play. Even if it's a good weapon, it feels bad. And people don't want to play things that feel bad because I remember when it felt good. But I know that a lot of really good Sloshing Machine players still play it because it is very valuable and it has a lot of flexibility and forgiveness in the way that it plays. But I do think that the normal Slosher is also very solid as well. When I've played as it, sometimes Tri-Strike can feel a little bit awkward, but main weapon and Splat Bomb is pretty good. So I still need to kind of see between like Tri-Sloshes, like the Slosher meta, I think is in a very interesting point, and I'd be interested in like kind of talking through that a little bit more at another time. But we see a little bit of discrepancy there, and then we have a Stamper, and we'll see. Stamper's in a really interesting spot right now because it outranges. I think mid-range is like low-key, like really strong right now, but people just are reluctant to play it because you're just pushing like you're taking the path of least resistance by playing a lot of fast weapons with Cooler, and then you have your Inkjet on the ballpoint, and you have range with ballpoint. But I think midline is actually like really strong. Stuff like Nautilus I think is pretty good. I mean, Slosher is technically like this kind of hybrid almost, where it's like shorter ranged. Like it can play kind of fast, but it is like it does have like a significant range advantage in certain spots. But I do think the Wiper and Stampers and stuff are like Splatanas in general are actually in a really good spot. Any minty fresh plays? Yeah, I'll be streaming the Splatfest for sure. I'm not sure exactly what I'll be doing, but I mean I'll be playing the Splatfest, but I'm not sure in general what the whole game plan is. But I'll definitely be gaming. And if anyone else is on Mint Chocolate Chip that want to play, I'll probably have some room because I don't know anyone that. Well, I know some people that are choosing it, but yeah, it should be a fun time. But yeah, I think Stamper is really interesting. It has a lot of range. Zipcaster, I think, especially because Cooler is so prevalent right now, I think Zipcaster is actually in like a really strong spot. But you know, Stamper is very demanding, and it's again, it's one of those weapons that it got nerfed, so it feels bad. So people that were like interested in Stamper, probably were a little bit thrown off by the nerfs, but it's still very strong. But it demands more out of you. So we'll get into it. Last thing, just because it is this map mode, I'm interested in pops. This team has 3 lethals versus 2 lethals here. I haven't really checked builds, so we can look real quick. But if I'm blue team, I'm probably giving up the initial pop. But throughout the match, we have, especially with something like Tri-Strike and Stamper can pop pretty fast. Like we have the ability in the middle of the match to go for pops, but I'm a little bit concerned to go for it at the very beginning of the match. So we'll see how it plays out. I think, but it's important to make that distinction because for something like your Splash, because when this team gets the pop, whoever is the one that actually gets the pop is usually going to be pretty close to special because they get all that special from the pop and mid. So whoever's the painter on the blue team, if we're deciding not to go for the pop, it's important to make sure that we're matching their paint output so that we get a special close to when the other team's getting special. That way they don't have mid control and then they overwhelm us with early specials. Yeah, neither team's running Object Shred. I feel like Object Shred it's still solid, but it's ran a little bit out of favor. So we actually do go for pop. So we're probably gonna lose. Yeah, we lose out on the early special. Oh, we got the pick though. Nice. Okay. I'll kind of talk through this in a second. I'm really interested. I'm gonna look at a high level view. I just want to look at like the paint overall. Because the other thing here is that our ballpoint, I guess our ballpoint is the painter. But, you know. I'm assuming. Sorry. I just want to see who gets, yeah, because like we get pop and we go from like special here to like special here from like getting the pop. And this is what enables us, because we get the pop and then we have like a bunch of paint all around us to very quickly get our special. And this is what enables us to get that early special. Fortunately, we're able to get this pick, but I'm not sure. The other thing is like, because we're fighting for the Rainmaker over here, like we have none of this painted. Like we have no way to like establish ourselves. We are fully committing to the aggro lifestyle, which I think in general, like a lot of, especially like stronger teams, like play generally a lot faster. So it's not that I disagree with this necessarily, but there's just like a trade-off. If we're fighting for Rainmaker pop and we don't get the special charge and the paint in mid as a reward, which again, going back to like looking comp versus comp, like we shouldn't get this. There's also a little bit of discrepancy between like our ballpoint isn't even trying, like our ballpoint's just painting over here for the initial jet. So I'm not fully sure why blue team plays it the way that they do. Maybe them fighting, like if these three are fighting for pop, maybe it allows their ballpoint. I'm really just trying to stretch here because I'm not actually, I'd be interested in asking Phantar just the idea behind it, because this isn't really an angle that I thought about, where like if we can stall the pop, then whoever our painter is can like have more time to get the initial paint. So that might be the idea there, because they didn't put themselves into a position to like die to the pop, so I think they just kind of assume. And plus you can get pop, you can sit here, and if you're about to lose it, you can just drop backwards and not die to the pop of it. But I don't know, this whole opening is really interesting. And I guess you know, kind of looking through it, I'm not sure if they just autopiloted and like, oh, we didn't get pop, or if there is like something more to it. So that'd be like my first question that I actually have for Phantar, or just like higher level players in general. Because usually if we're not going to get pop, we just kind of give up pop. And then we'll have like our ballpoint painting for special on one side, and then so like ballpoint would paint over left like they are, and then our splash would like be painting right side, and we have like nice paint on both sides. But you know, maybe this is an alternative way to fight for that like the special advantage at the beginning of the match. It's really interesting. I actually want to ask that question whenever any top level players watching the stream. I'm sure someone will come through at some point. Yeah, what's up, Rorik? Thank you for the follow. Welcome. But I do love this adaptation from Phantar. We have, or like, because again, we have a lot of range with Stamper. What question? Yo, Kia, what the heck? Okay, so holy so at the beginning of this match, okay, so team versus team. This team has three, like no teams. Object Shred does not exist. There's no Object Shred. This team has 3 lethals. This team has 2 lethals. Like Stamper's like good at popping it, but usually like especially at the beginning of the match, I usually like focus on lethal versus lethal. Their ballpoint paints left side, doesn't commit to the pop, but like we're still fighting for pop as a team. None of us die. Like we're not committing to the fact that we're dying. But I'm trying to understand why blue team is like fighting for pop. Because usually, and again, this might just be a different approach to thinking about the opening. But if I was playing this team and I would like, I'm meta splash player. If I'm splash, instead of going for pop, I'll like drop out over here and just like get paint all in this general area over here and paint for my crab. And just kind of give up mid. But 3 of them play over here while their ballpoint farms for specials. And I'm just wondering, like, are they stalling? Like, are the 3 people over here stalling so that maybe we get Inkjet faster, because there's a chance, and like this, the orange ballpoint, there's a lot going on. The orange ballpoint is the one that gets the pop. So they end up getting special before blue team, which is what I would expect. Whoever gets pop, especially on a map where the Rainmaker pop gives a lot of special, they're able to, and I can play it out. Someone should at least go right for sure. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But, because like they lose the pop, they don't have, like, because that's my concern, is that we don't have any paint over here. So like, there's a chance that we just kind of get pushed, but we just kind of take this this left side, and I think we might get a little bit lucky on the pick against the ballpoint, but this feels very scary from blue team. But I'm not sure if like they're, so my overall question is, I don't know if they wanted to stall the pop to allow the person that isn't going for pop to like paint for special faster, but if you're not going to get pop, it's like they're going to pop it either way. So I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. So I don't know. In my opinion, it feels like a mistake, but I was just wondering from a higher level player's perspective on if I'm potentially missing something. The one thing I did want to point out in this situation that I did really like, because Stamper, sorry, I'll go after pop. Stamper kind of notices that no one on the enemy team is playing for like left side here. So they get paint in mid, they tag this person here, and like they just start taking this open lane. Especially since this person's like focusing on painting and stuff, like there's an opportunity for us to be aggressive. So I do like that we like push for this opportunity, but again, this feels very, very risky. Another thing that I see a lot, which I'm not a Stamper mechanical player, but whenever I watch Mauricio play Stamper, like, so when we're fishing for these types of vertical flicks, for people that don't play Stamper, like vertical flick and horizontal flick is like a combo in itself. Like if you hit a vertical and a horizontal, it splats. So when we're fishing for these types of plays, usually a lot of times Mauricio will go and like they'll try to aim for the combo regardless of if they know they're going to hit it or not. Like if they hit a vertical slash that it looks like it might hit, they just automatically, regardless of confirming it or not, they'll just hit the horizontal. And I'm wondering here if we go for like a horizontal after the second one. I guess we don't technically visually see this person move left. Like they could have just backed up, but I think we have an easier chance at actually getting this splat, which we go for it later. So maybe we went for the visual confirm instead of just kind of trying for it. But either way, the whole right side is very, very scary. Wait, did they lose? Oh no. Okay, because like the sloshing machine was camping the landing and just lost out on that. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I feel like this opening should have been way worse for us, IMO, but I could be wrong. Enemy team gets cooler out, so they're probably gonna look to play very aggressive. Yeah, there's so much happening. I'm gonna have to look, especially for team matches, I usually like to look at things a little bit like higher, like top level. Let me move it back after we get the trade on the, like off the landing. So we're not playing for right side at all, which, I mean, makes sense. But again, it's a little bit scary to leave all of this paint open. Like, I feel like during this time, and again, this is just like, this might just be a different approach from better players. Like, Rainmaker as a mode is definitely like a speed mode. And I think Clam Blitz is more of a speed mode than I really think about. Like, it's something I've been thinking about lately that, So anyways, the reason why it's important to know that it's a speed mode is that a lot of times, especially like if you have a big lead, you can sacrifice some of your pressure to get solid paint. But when we need initial pushes, we can look to be aggressive. But if this was me, I'd be like getting this type of paint and like setting up for a crab as a splash. But I like the idea of us playing really aggro here. But, you know, we're not consolidating as much paint as I would initially expect. And then just the one problem with this... Yo, Annual Soup is God. Interesting name. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you. One of the problems with not consolidating this paint, which, again, they're not going to flank from, like, you know... they're not going to flank from this kind of angle, but we do open ourselves up to a lot of mid-pressure, which is what ends up happening here. So it's a little bit scary. But I think the other important thing about getting paint here is, like, we need a special to play off of. Are we gonna play paddling again? I can't really play EU tournaments anymore. I have what we call a real life job, and unfortunately, I'm so like it's cool. Like I played competitive games when I was in college and stuff, but it's always funny that, like, there's some people on my team that are in college and they're like, oh man, like, you know, they have time to do stuff during the day, and I'm like, nah, I can't. I have to, like, yeah, things like that. We did pretty well. Could have had some more reps for a better placement, but yeah, welcome in, Fade. Hello. I'm too much of a boomer nowadays. So yeah, like, we're pushing forward. Like, we're trying to play super fast. And again, I would like to have a special up here. But a lot of times when I watch especially the EU teams, which, like, we've seen Fantar team play in the previous replay, but they do opt, which at that point they were playing like double, it was Rainmaker as well, but they were playing double sloshing machine, double splash when that was in meta, and like they just are super aggressive and taking space. So again, this is just like a little bit of an interesting difference between the way that I would play versus the way that they're playing, but their comp is a little bit different. Like, I play with like their splash has to be a little bit more aggressive, but I'm interested in what, like, again, splash could be playing up here, watching this area, getting shots over here, and potentially providing more cover for the rest of the team. And instead they're just like pushing up with their main weapon, which again, I don't think it's necessarily a mistake. It's just like a stylistic difference. The thing about playing Crab here is that if they get, I don't know, Inkjet is potentially a little bit scary, but if we're over here when they have Inkjet, which they shouldn't have it just based off of timings, but I don't know. So far it feels like we've been playing a little bit too fast is what it feels like. But it could just be my own comfort with being a lowly mid-level player. Is that I want to have more paint control, and I want to have more like, I want to have specials ready to push, but I don't think these plays are bad. The Ghost Rainmaker on the mini or the overhead. So yeah, the left team actually opts to go left side, which is what I was talking about. But all right, we'll play this from Fantar's perspective. I actually want to watch the overhead again of this. Nice pick. All right, real quick, because this is what I was talking about before. If the enemy team overly commits, let's see how this plays out. Okay, so this pick probably tells them, oh, we can like push in here. But if you can see that this team is already like cheating the rotate, because this is a really long rotation. You spawn over here and you like, this is very close, this is very far, and often people try to focus over here. So sometimes you can like outplay a little bit. Like, again, this push is not good because people can very easily stop it if they're holding this area, but you're kind of betting on the fact that they're gonna cheat this rotation and play it super fast. So I like what Orange team is doing here. I don't like that the overhead is not allowing me to see two people. Oh man. But yeah, I guess this is the thing, is that maybe they just assume that Crab is enough for first checkpoint, but I don't understand why we're pushing two people left if we're going for this type of play. It feels like a little bit of a miscommunication between the kind of like, there's clashing ideas. Because I feel like, and I'm sorry, I'm slowing down on this part because I think it's very interesting. But in this kind of situation, and ballpoint's over here. Sorry, it's like, it's hard to see his ballpoint over here, and then Rainmaker is over here. So I'm just like I'm interested. I'm definitely down to entertain the idea of taking it right for first checkpoint. With the pick and us having special advantage, taking it left probably is the better play on average. But if I'm in experimentation mode, and this is a scrim, so I'm down to experiment. I'm wondering why we don't have more resources over here. Because with their whole team like moving in, you would expect, like, if I'm on the orange team, if someone visually sees, like, if the Rainmaker's on this side of the line and not over here, like, someone's gonna watch this. And maybe they just maybe the crab got a little bit greedy trying to help with this over here and missed out on Acer sitting in this type of spot. But yeah. Really quick, I'm also interested in, was the thing not painted, or? Oh, it wasn't painted. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I don't hate the idea, but like, it feels like the orange team is like, they have conflicting ideas here. It looks like they were set up for the left push, but Rainmaker went right side, so I'm just gonna assume that there was just a lack of communication, or just some sort of miscommunication. Like, they got the pick on right, so maybe like, oh, we can just get checkpoint, but that kind of burns them a little bit. They do have control though, so they should still get this checkpoint. Also, do not know what Fantar's doing over in mid, so let me check that. Sorry, there's a lot going on. These games go really fast, so it's hard to watch all of it. So yeah, we get the stop with the with this, and then we just go for the flank. Let me size up the ballpoint, I think, and kind of get clapped. That's tough. Yeah, playing mid feels a little bit greedy here. But I guess we don't know at the time that two of our teammates are going down. Like, maybe we just assume that our team is like able to handle this. The Booyah Bomb from Alwo. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I probably butchered. So sorry. I think like that plus the jump in from the zap is really, really, really good. And this kind of changes the dynamic of this play. So again, Fantar's cheating a little bit into mid to fight for mid because they just kind of assume that their team's going to hold the spot. Which us getting the pick and us getting like 3 down when we were using our special is a reasonable assumption to make, honestly. But yeah, we don't have the paint to go for this type of play. I think, I don't know. If we wanted to shark, I'd probably play for like a shark over here. I'm not gonna lie. Just like sit over here, either go around this way or like swim up over here, and then once ballpoint starts pushing in the mid, like we push them. When ballpoint's swimming in, they probably do see that we're painting over here, but I like our odds a little bit more than just sitting top mid and being out in the open. The other idea that we can have is like play like, you know, shark over in this area, and we can actually like, you know, have the option to rotate to right a little bit faster. But again, I think this is a great idea. I think the execution is a little bit funky, IMO. But again, from Fantar's perspective, I don't expect my team to get blasted after we get 3 down. But to his team's like credit, or not credit, but like to give them the benefit of the doubt, the jump in with coordinated with the Booyah Bomb on the orange team was like really, really good. So I think that was a really nice play from orange team that we got punished for our cheat play. Because even if we get the pick on the ballpoint over here, we probably still lose first checkpoint, even if we do get that pick. So it was unfortunate that we lost both of them. Also did not pay attention to what was happening on this push. I'm so sorry. This game, Rainmaker's too fast for me to analyze. From a competitive spot. I'm so sorry. I have to like break it down a little bit, so I appreciate everyone's patience. But yeah, the enemy team, they should be close to their specials. They end up obviously popping a crab. I just died to a bomb. Yikes. Unfortunate. Okay, so we get 2 down before this even happens. And then we're giving jumps over here. It's really hard to see. I don't know why the replay like does what it does. Okay, so we just decided to just take points. So why are we crabbing here? I'm so confused. Yeah, like we just have 2 different ideas. Like, are we trying to crab to get jumps? Yo, what's up, X-Ray? I guess yeah, I don't know. I like crab to, like, I do this a lot. I think this is a really nice play. Like, the idea, sorry. I like the idea of popping crab in order to give jumps. But again, there's just conflicting ideas from the orange team. Because Rainmaker, like, the ballpoint is, like, just trying to get points past first check, which I don't blame them. Because a lot of times the fights happen on the like, you can give up first checkpoint and you can take a fight around either podium. So if you can get it a little bit past podium, sometimes you can, like, they can pick, like, it. You don't want to be in overtime and not have that little bit of a buffer between where the podium is and getting some extra points. So if you can get some extra points after, it's still not great, but I don't hate the idea. If instead of our splash playing over here and crabbing, our splash needs to be playing like back here and crabbing when they start pushing this way, which at that point, our team isn't even jumping in, I guess. But we might not even have to play this far back. We can at least play it on this little like structure over here, but we need to give ourselves more distance. We can't position our, like, this is an aggressive crab when our team's trying to push this spot over here. But we can't sit in this aggressive spot if the enemy team can fight us from like ring, like their slosher was on ring, and like the rest of their team can just kind of push at you. There's just not enough resources for like, there's too much pressure from blue team for us to be able to crab here. So I don't hate this idea, but again, it just feels like we're going for this play and the rest of the team isn't committing to it because ballpoint is like just going for points, which if they're going for points, we're holding mid. If they wanted, like, if we wanted to crab here, ballpoint needs to like probably play back here, focus ring. I mean, they can back up even more, but they can like play around this area and give teammates in, or give like stall long enough for your teammates to get jumps, and then that's when you can use crab. But there's just like conflicting ideas, and I'm confused. But either way, good stop. Panther looking to be on the aggressive. So I'm hoping Rainmaker's popping. I like us taking space. I love the speed at which we, there you go. See, there's the combo. All right, real quick. I want to go back to the combo just because like it's like a staple in like how you play Stamper. But I guess we're just more confident. Okay. So we're very confident that we're gonna hit this because like they're not watching us, which is a fair assessment to make. But yeah, regardless of if we know we're gonna hit that or not, we always hit the horizontal slash after because it's just like the faster combo. So really good pick, really good idea, really good job taking space. I do want to see what happens. So real quick, sorry again, I'm resetting so many times. I just want to see what happens from a high level. I really like what Fantar did that whole play as like the Stamper. And I think the enemy team, the blue team has a lot of flexibility in like who's the one taking space. So that, you know, whoever's the farthest forward is the one that's moving forward. So I definitely appreciate that. And we're all like committing to this left side. Yeah, we pop all of our specials. That's tough. I would like to see us take a little bit more space in this scenario. The one thing, when you're pushing for this checkpoint, and this is like okay, so this is a common thing just in Splatoon. I feel like people do not do it nearly enough, but like people always get punished for it. But like when you're going for the podium here, you have to think about the potential spots where people are going to be sitting. For example, so if we're going for this checkpoint, if we're scoring on this podium, people are either going to be sitting here to stop it early, or you can stop it when they're going for the jump. Sometimes they can go for very quirky sharks over here. or they'll sit back here. Like these are the 3 spots that we have to be focused on. If they have like a crab or something, then like there's a chance they play on this grade up here. But like there's less of, this is less problematic for us to have to deal with on the defense. And also visually we can see that, you know, where, if their crab has special and like where they're at. So when we're pushing up like this as the enemy team, when we have like a second or two, or the blue team, when we have a second or two, when we're pushing like this, we need to be map checking and we need to be thinking about all of these different areas. This is also another problematic area as well. But we need to check this ring area. We need to check this quirky play, which we can like throw a bomb or something on. And then we have to potentially be scared about these if they have specials. This person can just drop, which is what ends up stopping us. But it's important to focus on like these specific areas and know where the threats are potentially going to be at. The threats aren't going to be down here because their team just got like wiped effectively. So we know we don't have to check all of this paint. And like because they can't be down here, there's a good chance that they also can't be here. So we don't have to worry about that. There's no paint here, so we know there's not someone sharking here, but as we start moving, there totally could be someone that sharks there. So we still want to keep an eye on that. But that's what we, like, this is where we map check, like at this stage of the push, and really think about like all of these different areas. And so I like the way, again, I really like the way Phantar plays it. They're playing front, so they're just like focused on trying to get as far forward as possible. I would like potentially a burst bomb and stuff up here if there was enemy paint, but the fact that there's no paint, usually this far into the match, people aren't going to go for the no paint, like walk into this type of spot and sit in squid form. It is possible, but I'm in this spot. I'm fine with Phantar playing as fast as they are. I think this is a really good play, but I'm fascinated with what our team's doing after. So I want to look at the 2 other players while this is happening. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. But I feel like we should just auto be looking at that. Because like after the tri-strikes, we see that one person. I guess we don't have we don't have the camera to see what's going on here. But like as we're moving up here, we should be soaking in this information. And like we know that there's no one that's still over here. So we immediately, in this type of situation, we immediately need to go back to this, you know, they could be sharking in any of these spots. And like, again, this spot isn't there. So I'll just erase stuff because putting X's over X's putting X's over X's doesn't do a lot. They can't be over here. They can't be here. This whole area as well is like a threat, but we know that they can't be in this little dotted area either. So like there's these 3 threats that we need to be focused on. Where the Rainmaker is at, and like also where our splash is at, they're going to be watching the other side of the ring. Like at this point, they're basically too slow. Or if they push through, we should assume that the person behind us is able to see that. So realistically, there's only 2 threats here. And we know that they don't have crab because they just spawned, and like they could be getting it any second now, but at this point it's like too slow. So realistically, there's only one spot that is a potential threat here. Through a process of elimination, this is the only spot that stops our push. And we kind of need to like, it's a lot, like this whole thing I just dissected is hard to do in the moment. But especially on a mode like Rainmaker, but again, it matters in literally every objective. Like just every game mode, this is like a common thing. But this part of this is like overall awareness of the mode, and some of it is like, you know, the different spots they can be sharking at. This is very like, this is all map dependent. But when we're looking at like holding Rainmaker stuff and like pushing Rainmaker on either checkpoint, we need to be thinking about these things. And I think we could simplify the area of where the threats are coming from to immediately start just pre-firing this area. The second that we see that the Phantar is able to get a really nice pick onto this ballpoint, we immediately have to divert our attention to this spot over here. This doesn't matter because they're too out of the way at this point. We have to worry about this after the first checkpoint, but we have to focus on this. maybe they assume that Fantar's watching it, but if I'm the Stamper that's in Spider-Man mode, like I don't know what's going on. I see something, I go for picks. I'm not the one that's like checking the shark spots and everything. So, you know, we do in the beginning the pick, but I think this play gets a lot nicer if we're a little bit cleaner with it all. But we still get, you know, I say all of this and then it just doesn't matter. Like I say all this and it's like, okay, well, we just get the picks anyways and we're chilling. But it's a very fundamental thing when it comes to Rainmaker that people, you know, I just like talking through. They did a good job of like simplifying stuff, but I think there was a little bit of a misassignment on that spot. And again, Fantar long range with Stamper. I love them sitting in the spot. They can move forward at, you know, they can potentially have this nice off angle on like where the BP is. But, you know, there's a lot of flexibility in the way that they move in this type of spot. So any sort of mid-range, ideally, or even like ballpoint is fine up here as well, can like hold this ring really well. But this person is like super annoying. If I'm playing defense as the orange team, I hate when there's a strong weapon that outranges me over in this spot. Because we've been staggering so much as the orange team, like we still don't have specials. So this is pretty dire in this kind of a situation. So we'll see how they play it out. But again, I really like Fantar constantly putting themselves in situations like at the beginning of the match and just all throughout the match, they're putting themselves in spots like even when they're pushing forward and taking like fights, like they're playing the long range battle up until it's like, oh, it's a BP over here. So now I can Zipcaster and go behind them and then look for a play of attacking them. But they're always playing to their weapon strength, which, you know, is what you'd expect as a top player. Yeah, and they're at this point, we've taken the lead. This push is basically done. What I'm seeing here is like this push is basically over unless I go for a big play. And I feel like it's okay to take the high risk, high reward play because this push is effectively probably done at this point. If we push for points, our teammate goes down. I guess we could play it slow. Which, like, you know, we don't full commit. So this is where I like the restraint from Fantar of like, oh, if they do climb up this ledge, I get a free pick, but then we end up dipping out. Again, a really minor thing. I don't know if I like us jumping off of the ledge. I'd rather us drop so that we're not in the air as much. This is something that whenever you watch Japan, which like a lot of times when you watch their like shooters and stuff, like whenever I watch Melon Crow, one thing I really like their consistency to never like jumping off ledges unless they have to. Like if they have to jump to get the extra range, then they'll go for it. But every other time they're just dropping off the ledge, which part of that helps with their RNG when they're shooting. Like if a lot of times they'll drop off ledges in an advantageous spot to like go for, you know, the drop on someone. But yeah, the only thing I'll say about this jump is that because we're getting shot by a short range shooter, jumping away gives us more distance, but I don't like the airtime because there's also someone else over here and there's a chance that they like come around them. We're stuck in the air for a long period of time. Yeah, we end up getting chased, but we stayed alive as long as we could. I'm gonna go. Okay, I was gonna say I'm gonna go back and see what our team's doing. I'm wondering how our BP died. Oh, I didn't go back far enough. I wanna know how our BP died here. Because again, when the Rainmaker goes down, we are figuring out. So Rainmaker goes down, unfortunately we get chased. As a team, we have to kind of decide like what it is that we're trying to do. Wait, did BP already die? Okay, they jumped in. Okay, never mind. That's all good. But the rest of the team's doing a good job here. Again, this is another thing that you see a lot in like low-level teams that they struggle with, is that like the rest of the people on their team will like fight for the death. Like they'll just take fights and be like, oh, well, you know, this push is basically over. So I'm just going to fight and then I'll respawn and then I'll just like go back in the mid, which is like not how you should approach it. I love the way that Cappy and Acer are playing here. We're backing up. And again, because you have a teammate, because Acer has a teammate this time and not like the previous time, holding this type of spot with Crab makes more sense to me. They don't have to back up all the way to here because they have someone with them. And if a bunch of people start dropping, then that's just like, you know, you basically can this is also like, this is like partially a bait to the enemy team that like, oh, if you want to like jump at me like you did last time, I actually have a friend here that can punish you for doing that. So I like this play now. I didn't like this play before because we were the last one up on our team. So ballpoint, they just jumped in, and unfortunate, it's all good. But they can use specials as like the overall macro play of holding mid control. So they hold specials, they should be able to give their teammates jump-ins, and we just stall the game out. A lot of times in like 41 isn't a great push, but it's a good push. And when you have a lead in the situation, we're basically looking at like the clock and being like, okay, there's 2 minutes left. We might, like if we have full control of mid, we can maybe like hold Rainmaker and just like stall the game out. But we're not looking to overcommit for getting a push past 41 at this point. So this type of play where we're like sacrificing a special so our whole team can get jumps into mid so we have full control of mid. And in order for them to start taking mid back, these people have to start using their specials. This is like, I like this. And this is how we should be playing it. And we tried this before, but we did this before with without any teammates. We still end up getting a little bit punished, but we, you know, things get a little bit scrappy, but we get the best of it. Again, Phantar just doing a fantastic job using their range. So using range, so okay, yeah, this. I'm interested to see how much Stamper Phantar has played. I really like the way that they've been playing this whole game. Outside of the opening, it was a little bit questionable, but after the pop, I like the way they played it. Before the pop, I'm still questioning it. But yeah, like using cover to get that pick. Oh, short range shooter. So it's like, you can see, oh, there's a short range shooter behind me. I'm going to take this space and just widen the gap. I'm going to play outside of Zap's range before I take this fight. And you can see they've backed up all the way to a point. This person has, like, they can't fight me. So we can continue to pressure them. If they like hid behind cover. So if this Zap drops behind the cover and waits for their ballpoint, then we can probably just jump out as a Stamper. But they're trying to force the fight, so yeah, we'll take this. I'm good with this. And then immediately, oh shoot, long range weapon. I'm not winning the range battle against BP, so you know, at this point I can't really jump out. But I'm, you know, ideally we wouldn't be out in the middle of nowhere, but you know, getting a pick in this spot is still really good and high value. But at this point, you know, I need to get behind cover. This is the only cover. I could push this way, but you know, they're already shooting this way, so it's probably better to choose this right side over here. Vertical slash was a little bit risky, I can't lie. But, you know, we shorten the distance between this fight because we can't long range fight against ballpoint, and then we end up getting a nice pick. So again, Phantar's playing this really well. Now they can just kind of hold the spot and bully because the enemy team's all coming off spawn. And again, this whole thing, a bunch of open lanes, we're chilling. We're basically just poking at them, getting our special. I'm really interested to see how, oh shoot. I'm really interested to see how blue team plays this. Because if this was me, I'm basically stalling this push. Because we just got 2 picks, we actually could be a little bit more aggressive than normal, but I would probably just play this as pretty stally. If we get one more pick, then I'll start looking to push past 41. But until we get that next pick, I'm kind of chilling. Yo, what's up? Valorant better than OW2. I haven't played Overwatch 2 all that much, so I'll take your word for it. How do I get out of C- rank? I'm still stuck. If you're stuck in C-, is probably, I would say that you're still trying to understand the general flow of the game. Like, I'm not sure how long you've been playing the game and everything, but you're probably like, I don't know. I would definitely recommend like watching a lot of high level players stream. Like Yo's here for a quick minute. They're a really good player to watch. Just any high level gameplay, Kiver, Kyo. Trying to think of people that stream normally. Got the game a week ago. Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah. So at this point, if you got the game a week ago, just enjoy it. Just play it and enjoy it. Keep facing cracked Japanese players. I mean, it happens. I roll you. Yeah, just I would say when you're that early in the game, because when you said still stuck, I didn't know how long you were playing for. But yeah, if you're after a week, like Splatoon is a very hard game. It's so unique in just getting used to the mechanics and the controls and everything. I would say at this point, don't worry about your rank. Just enjoy the game. Just have fun. You know, play a weapon that you think is interesting. Like you're still unlocking weapons. You're still trying to figure out stuff. I would say, and like I'm biased. I think that the Splatoon story is just like really fun. But well, sorry, dog's going a little crazy. Went on 3 in series and got points. Yeah, so when you enter a series match, they take your points, and then at the end of it, that you gain points. So you still might have, if you go 0-5 or 0-3 or whatever, you're probably net losing points. Yeah, the dog's saying hi. Thank you. But either way, yeah. At this point, you just enjoy it. Just play the game. But I would recommend playing the story mode and the 1-player stuff. Like play story mode. Salmon Run's another really fun mode that's not as like it's not PvP, so it gives you time to like play. Like Salmon Run's really nice because you get to try out just a variety of different weapons, even if you don't have them unlocked or anything. But I also think that just playing story mode is nice because you do get to play different weapons and it's like a slowed down environment. Because you just need time to like process stuff. Like you're probably like, I would recommend, if you don't use motion controls, I would highly recommend at least trying them. Salmon so useless to get the high rank. I actually disagree, but for reasons that if you've only played the game for a week, it's not necessarily worth talking about. But I think it's still like, I don't know. You're at the part of the game where you just need to get reps in. And if right now, if you're concerned the week into the game that, oh, I'm still stuck in C-, that means that you're too focused. You're focusing on the wrong stuff. You're focusing on like trying to grind your rank instead of learning the game. And especially when you first start the game, like it's such like a magical time. Like I think everyone that's played Splatoon and just any game that you like really love or are passionate about, everyone kind of can remember the time where you like first get into it. And like you don't get that time back, you know? Cracking Roller so OP. Yeah, exactly. See, you're going through the motions of a new player and you love to see it. You have to just appreciate it. Try not to get too frustrated. Like I don't know like if you're frustrated. I'm just assuming based off of like still stuck in C rank and the fact that you have Valorant in your name, you're probably a very competitive person. But yeah, Splatoon takes some time. Digest other content. Yeah, Soup mentioned Squid School. Squid School is a wonderful everything that Jim does. There's a lot of really good content in there. He has like it was from Splatoon 2, but basically everything carries over still. He had like a how to get out of whatever rank, like at a C rank, at a B rank. And there's a lot of really good tips there. I really liked using Jim's content, Squid School's content when I first started really getting into Splatoon and like trying to play competitively. I think it helped give me a little bit of a jump start. But yeah, I would say play through story mode. Just play different weapons and enjoy yourself. Just start figuring stuff out. If you do want feedback or whatever, join the Discord. I do free reviews. I would love to review some of your games and start like talking about general stuff, but you're still very early that like I'm not going to be able to say things to you that are going to like change like, oh man, like okay, everything clicks now. I'm going to start grinding. Like you're still very new. Just embrace the newness. Enjoy complaining about rollers. We've all done it. Enjoy complaining about chargers. We've all done it. Some people do it longer than they probably should be, but you know, that is what it is. And you know, just enjoy the ride. You feel bad, yeah. And if you're focusing, like if you're playing ranked and you're like the fact that you're saying, oh, I'm at negative whatever points, like you're doing it wrong. You need them. Like the biggest thing you need is a mentality shift. You have to give yourself some patience, give yourself some time. There's a lot of newer, like there's a lot of players that just generally want to help. You know, there's different groups that you can find. Like there's Discord servers that you can help find. Like I'm sure, again, Squid School's server probably has people that are always looking. Like it's like a, you know, a lot of people are in that server, so you can find other people that are like looking to play open. But you just need exposure. You just need to be exposed to the game. There's a lot of similarities between a game like Valorant and Splatoon, and there's also a lot of like very Splatoon specific things that aren't necessarily gonna translate over. Are the scope weapons better than chargers? I think for the most part it's I think it's preference, if I'm not mistaken. Like scoped has slightly more range. I think it has like half a line. So a lot of times people measure distance based off of the little lines in like the training mode, and I think it has like half of a line of range better than the non-scoped version. But in general, like the scoped are less mobile but have slightly more range, and the non-scoped ones have almost equal but slightly less range, but they're a lot more mobile. Because like you can hold your charge. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And welcome in, Sue. So exactly what Sue is saying, or Nami, Tsunami. Oh wait, is that just like the word tsunami? Oopsie. It was up bad. That's a cool name. But yeah, as they were saying, like the non-scoped version, if you get a full charge and you hold like, so if you use ZR to fully charge your scope, your charger, and then you go into ink while holding ZR, you'll still hold that charge, so you can pop out of ink and get a shot. And yeah, so like there's small differences between them. But I know that like for a lot of leader or charger mains, like a lot of times it is just kind of preference, whatever they're most comfortable with. But I would say right now the unscoped versions are probably, and I could be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I think for the most part the unscoped variants are generally more popular. But yeah, meta isn't important for C rank. Yeah, I would agree. Meta's gonna be all over. Like meta changes depending on ranked. Unscoped better. Yeah, what's up, Hecka? Yeah, I would probably say unscoped, but again, you're still at the point. You just need to play the game. Play the game. Submit me a what's it called? Send me a review. I would love to like kind of start talking through like general stuff. But in the meantime, like again, a channel like Squid School, as I'll just link it in YouTube. It's an invaluable resource to first understanding the game. I would say start with this playlist. This is the how to get out of whatever rank. I focus objective too much? Yeah, probably. Like again, all the steps that you go through, everyone's gone through. It's obviously very frustrating because you want to be you want to be as good as you can at the game as fast as possible, but be patient with yourself. That's the biggest thing that'll help you get out of C- rank, is to have that mentality shift. There's a lot of learning that you have to do with like controls, mechanics, and I truly think that story mode helps a lot with doing that. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I linked Soup. But yeah, no, definitely best of luck. Like I said, enjoy the ride. You only get to start the Splatoon series once, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to go back to the time where they were, you know, oh man, what is this Nintendo shooter? I wonder what this game is. And now we're complaining about the most little things. Is there Splatfest tomorrow? Yeah, I think it starts tomorrow. Let's go. But yeah, I enjoy, like, capture that enjoyment. That's what we want to see. Mental state over your, yeah, all that stuff you'll get better with over time. But yeah. But yeah, either way, welcome in. If you have any like other questions, like, you know, I can't be too specific with stuff because you're still in the early phases. So if I say something specific, you know, it's not going to resonate with you. But over time, you'll thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. But yeah, at this point, just try to like things are going to be frustrating. You're going to get bullied by weapons that you'll over time be able to punish. So just kind of yo Mo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. But yeah, you're in the early phases of the journey, and it's always the most fun. Try not to overly frustrate yourself. I think Splatfest is a fun opportunity for you to just kind of for it to be kind of silly, but try not to take anything too serious. But if you have any questions, like feel free. And any again, if you go into any Splatoon Discord, everyone would be happy to help. This is like this is my personal Discord. If you have any like specific questions, like I'm more than happy to answer them when I have time. So, regardless of the scenario, I would love to help you as you are getting onto everything. Yeah, mint chocolate chip is the go-to for me, but most people are going other stuff. Grind gear and experiment. True. I wouldn't even worry about like at a week into the game. Like I wouldn't worry about gear. I would say like until you're like, I would be familiar with gear, but you don't have to worry about gear for a really long time. I don't disagree with you though. I don't disagree. I think it is a good opportunity to grind gear, but I wouldn't focus. Like I get so frustrated whenever I look at like the Splatoon Reddits, which why am I on Splatoon Reddit? Every thread is about like builds. Like even like the more competitively meta oriented, which like it's a very casual, like Splatoon's a casual game, and someone that's going to be on Reddit to have a discussion is going to be even more casual. But the thing I get, like one of my gripes is when people get overly fixated on gear builds, like being familiar. So understanding why stuff is good is important to know for gear, but like refining and having the perfect gear build, like having some extra like swim speed versus having some extra utility when it comes to like super jump and stuff, none of that matters like at most ranks. Stuck in minus 2000 S plus, took a week-long break. Yo, good, congrats, that's sick. Yeah, no, definitely take a break when you need to, but that's like the biggest thing is like don't burn yourself out in the early stages of the game. And again, I think that I'll reiterate, but I think the story mode is like a great way to kind of break the frustration from ranked while still like understanding and getting reps in on the game. Yo, thank you for the can you please help me with your pronunciation? I'm gonna call you Buzz because that's only I can either call you Jab or Buzz, or please correct me because I would like to call you what you would prefer to be called. But thank you so much for the follow. And you mentioned I keep losing in Turf War. Any tips? I would say the biggest thing, and he's fine. Okay, I'll probably just go Jab since it's the first 3 letters. But yeah, again, please correct me, whatever you prefer. Yeah, it's hard to give too much feedback, but I guess what weapon are you playing? I'm gonna get back into the review because I went on a little bit of a tangent, and I'll start talking for another 3 hours and not get back to the the focus. So I'm gonna get back to the focus, but I would need more information to be able to better kind of dissect what's going on. So a little analysis from you would be wonderful. Like, what weapon are you playing? Is there something that you're feeling uncomfortable about? Is there what do you feel like is the issue? Are you having issues fighting against other weapons? Do you feel like you're constantly dying? Are you just blaming your teammates? Do you not get as much value out of your special as you're hoping? Like, do you have the lead for a while and then you just like kind of it slips out of your hands at the end? Yeah, I can't I can't help too much with that. I overheat a lot. Yeah, that is definitely something, especially in a mode like Turf War. Your teammates are probably not thinking about you and giving you jumps. So getting splatted in this game, especially in Turf War toward the later part of the match, like is problematic. I think usually people say like the last minute or last 30 seconds is like the cutoff of like you can't really die anymore. Dying after the last minute is like bad. I mean, dying at any point in the game is bad. You give up a lot, but like you're effectively, because of the way that Turf War scored, like you're effectively throwing. If you're like, you have to have a really good reason to want to take fights in that type of scenario. Are series the best way to rank up solo? Yeah, it'll be the fastest. Open is really slow when it comes to grinding, but again, open ones are harder. Yeah. I actually don't know how the ranking system works for open and stuff. Like I would assume it tries to give you like equally skilled opponents, but yeah. Part doesn't break. I love that animation though, with like the little cracks. Part of that charm was missing, but I do think the new ranking system's a little bit more nice. Anyways, I'm getting back to the review. Feel free to continue the discussion. I'll chime in little parts if I can, but otherwise we're gonna keep it rolling. So anyways, again, as we were getting back to it, Phantar playing Stamper, doing a really good job playing these open lanes, playing behind cover, you know, getting their special ready, and they're going to look to push in. And if there's an opportunity, their team can push with this Rainmaker. But as I was mentioning before, we don't like, because we have the lead here, we don't have to push. We can just stall out, and then when this person is close to, because you know there's a 55-second timer before they explode, when that gets closer to like 20-15, we can look to like kind of help the push and just have them move the Rainmaker in a weird spot. You can also just you can also look to get splatted with the weapon in like corners, you know, spots where they can't get a lot of value out of the paint. So we can just like get splatted back here, we can get splatted back here, you know, we can sit back here. There's a lot of spots that we can just stall it, but there is a chance. Like 41 isn't the most comfortable lead, so I do want us to not overcommit to this upcoming Zipcaster play or this upcoming Jet play, but I would like to see us potentially at least fish for some type of play, because there's too much time and the lead isn't quite as strong. So again, we're just playing for special. I'm interested to see out as a team how we go about this. So we get to avoid the, oh my god, the dog fights here, flying in the air. All right, this, okay, this stall is, oh my, wait, Phantar, they're crazy. I was gonna say this went a lot worse than I was hoping for, but Phantar just solo clutched. That was really, really good. All right, I'm gonna go back real quick. Again, okay, so we'll get back to this push in a second. But as a team, I just want to see what like we did as a like squad. Phantar just like popped off with the with Stamper. But like this play went about how I expected it. Like we're just slowing down and like we're trying to get our specials and look to push with our specials. I think one thing blue team didn't really account for all that much is like I feel like we're not positioned to like push, or like we're positioned like we should be pushing, but mentally we're not trying to push here. Laggy Jet I shared earlier. Oh, was that in the Discord? I think I saw Sun's comment on it, but I have to go back after the stream. I need to like catch up on a lot of stuff, so I'll have to watch. I have not seen the clip, but if it's in the clips channel, I will watch it after the stream and I'll react in the Discord. I played against the Laggy Jet not too long ago. Yo, just Spanish Armada. Welcome in, welcome in. But yeah, the one point I wanted to make here is like if we try to like look for this push, we have to be mindful of the enemy team specials, because they end up getting a special advantage over us. And I want to see how, like, did we just get caught and it was like, did they make a really good play, or was there an opportunity for us to slow down, see that they have specials, and not all basically go down? Because we basically give up mid for free with how we end up playing this, because we all kind of go down, but Phantar clutches up. Oh, sorry. I said I was gonna watch for stuff and then I didn't watch for stuff. But I think they got the special with not a lot of time to react. That was my bad. Okay, so they have we see that the ballpoint is Jet. So we should not be clustered like this. We have to make a decision of how we're playing this. This is not how we play it when they have like BP and Inkjet ready. We're just asking to get like collatted and just get all go down. No. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I hate this. I hate all of this. Don't do this. Phantar is okay because they have like they can. The nice thing about Inkjet and Zipcaster, anything that has a recall to it, and you'll see this a lot in like play in Japan, is that they use the Inkjet or they use the Zipcaster as a way to like very quickly reposition, which allows them to very aggressively, like what that ends up doing, it allows Phantar to play this type of position when something like Ballpoint is a looming threat. So I'm okay with Phantar being here. I'm okay with Rainmaker being here if this is where, as a team, they decided that they want to, where they want their Rainmaker player to die and where it ends up. But they can't commit as a full team here. Even if we don't see the Inkjet, which at this point they just use Inkjet, but even if we don't see that they have the Inkjet, we have to know that they're painting for it, and we have to know that they're going to have it like immediately. This is so like, just everyone's a liability here, and we cannot do this when we have a lead. When we have this kind of lead, any kind of risk that we take, again, I think if we have two, and again, I might not have the perfect push here, but I'm okay with Phantar being here. I'm okay with Rainmaker sitting back here. You know, maybe they end up playing a little bit closer to where Phantar is, so they have a, you know, some sort of cover to play around. Because if they want to dodge Inkjet shots, like they can either use this ramp ledge, they can use this little ledge for this entrance onto the ring, or they can use the podium. But I'm okay with these two here, but I feel like the BP, which maybe they're close to special, I'm guessing, and like the Slosher, they need to be positioned. I think they should probably be like one should probably be over like here or something. Like we should be a little bit slower. I don't know. This feels like and we're committing for a push here. So I understand why we're doing this, but this feels way too risky and like way too slow. Because I think we end up like slowing down a little bit, and if we're gonna go for this type of play, we need to like commit. Like we should be like already committing. Like this person, we shouldn't be sitting back here. If we're going for this type of play, I want our Slosher to like already be feeding, or I want Phantar to like swing wider and start watching like these ledges and like this grate as well. This little gray area over here. Or like potentially look to like push up here. Like when we get Rainmaker shots up here, that gives us access onto the ring for free. And we need to like spread out. I don't know. Again, there's like two different ideas. Phantar sitting here is like stally, we're just gonna stall out Rainmaker. And then we give jumps to the responsible players. You know, like Ballpoint's gonna stay alive and they're gonna be responsible. Or maybe we jump to their Inkjet and we jump into the Inkjet. But or jump into them when they have their Inkjet out, so it's a little bit safer. But we're still playing stally when the rest of our team's trying to push up, and it feels like a clashing of two different ideas. So like one of us go down, we have this. That's a really nice Booyah Bomb. There's Sloshing Machine on the other team has been playing really, really well with their Booyah Bombs all game, so definitely kudos to them. They've had like really creative ways to get value out of it. Which in that case, there isn't too many options, but that's still like getting the AoE from the top of this little ring structure area is sick. But yeah, this is like really bad. Fortunately, our Slosher was able to find a pick, and they do end up being able to like stay alive. But like realistically, Phantar should go down here, and then the rest of their team should be able to take mid. Which like we're not in a terrible spot in this type of situation, but we shouldn't be getting into this spot in the first place. We're very fortunate. Like Phantar bails us out with some sick Stamper play, but I think as a team we kind of failed how we approach this push here. In my opinion. Weren't there submissions before this? Yeah, so sometimes I go in order. Sometimes if there is a specific time sensitivity for certain replays, the only times I've done it is like in this case, like this blue team, there's like a French LAN that's happening next weekend. And I want to make sure that I'm able to get there. It might be this weekend, actually. I want to make sure I get this type of analysis beforehand. I've also done it for people that are competing in low ink. So like their team was playing day 2 and they sent a replay of like day 1. So like they're trying to get information and try to learn, and they have like a day to figure it out. So that's the only time that I like kind of stretch a little bit, which I'm hit or miss about, but I think it's fair enough. But yeah, you're totally right. But sometimes I do make little exceptions just based off of time sensitivity. Also, I need to have like a ginormous stream this weekend so I can catch up with all the replays. So if you already submitted a replay and I like took someone in front of you, I do apologize. We will be going in order, but sometimes there are little things that kind of change the order. 2 weeks ago, yeah, streams have been some IRL stuff. I've been a little bit busy, so streams have been a little bit less. But this weekend, like our team isn't really doing anything. There aren't really any tournaments going on. There's a lot of like lands. There's a lot of fun stuff to watch for spectators that I'll be watching, but I'm gonna be doing like long streams and catching up. But no, I really do appreciate your patience with all that. My goal is to have like some like 8+ hour streams, and we're getting caught up because at some point that mid-season patch is happening. Once they announce a mid-season patch, I'm gonna close new submissions until the patch actually happens, because I don't want people to not get their stuff reviewed. I felt so bad with the last review. I do not have the views for Partner Grind, but thank you. I have a lot of fun with this, so I do want to like get through everything. How long is the queue? So right now I think there's probably like 12 or so. There might be a little bit more because there's been some more submitted since the last time I streamed. But yeah, my goal is by the end of this weekend that I'm like fully caught up. Unless there's like a ton of reviews that like there's an influx in the next like day or two. But anything that's submitted now, like starting like right this second, my goal is to get all of those done before the end of the weekend. Basically, partner. I wish. But yeah, either way, I do appreciate, I appreciate the question. I appreciate the feedback. And I appreciate you kind of just being very understanding about it. I can totally understand if you have frustration. But I think it's like relatively fair. Just because, you know, if someone needs feedback like before a certain event, I like to, you know, be able to accommodate for that. You know, if someone's like, oh, you know, trying to win a Splatfest, yeah, I probably won't budge for that. Or, you know, oh, it's my birthday, or oh, school's out or something. Like, yeah, I'm probably not going to budge for that. But as a competitive player, I can understand and appreciate that. You know, if it becomes too much of a problem, or like, you know, people are constantly getting hopped, I will definitely reevaluate that. But this is like the second time that it's happened, and I've probably done like 50+ reviews at this point. So yeah, it is a little bit awkward, but I think it's fair, and I use my discretion on that. But either way. And also, Floof, I don't know if I said hello. I had a conversation to say hello like many times. I don't know if I actually did it in IRL or if I just did it in my head. But yeah, welcome in. Hello. 3 wins and X, 18 points, sad. But yeah, and see, again, we're just stalling. I'm a little bit concerned. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think like the way that we're playing it is fine. I just don't like us all bunching up into this area. Because like Phantar gets picks. Like I like us taking the space, but we need to make a decision on if we're stalling or if we're looking for a push. If we're looking to push, I'm okay with 3 of us being here and like we go. But we end up getting the pop and we just kind of stall. I do like Phantar taking this type of position, but like we don't have specials. We're nowhere close to any specials. Our Slosher actually had a Tri-Strike potentially, which like, yeah, they're sacrificing their Tri-Strike as well. So like we need to just take point. Like we can get past 41. We probably get at least at worst, we get onto Slick right here. And we get to like 30s, like low 30s, maybe high 20s. If we get picks, we can push it even farther. But I don't like that we're like, I don't like this positioning if we're not going to hold forward. Like there was no pain. Like if we're paying attention and like map checking, there's no pain over here. We know that there's no one shirking in this spot. We do have to be worried about this threat up here, but there's no one over here. We take our points and we're chilling. And then we just play defense for another minute 20. Again, this could go well for them, but I'm very concerned with us playing Stolly bunched up together. Because the enemy team is going to get specials before us just due to the circumstance that we're in. And we start backing up a little bit. Again, we get that trade over there. We're able to trade down. Okay, nice. BP wins that fight. So we're constantly trading down enough in order to not lose control, but I just, if we're gonna stall, I want us to build specials, and it feels like we're putting ourselves into a position like we're trying to push, but we're not taking our points. But again, you know, these people are way better than me, so like I'm totally open to an alternative perspective. And we do end up getting these points, but like we could have got this exact push we could have got before. But, you know, either way, like at the end of the day, we're taking fights on their side of the map. So even if we do get wiped, like the enemy team takes control of mid, and then we can fight on like our side of the map and fight for mid. So it's like, in the grand scheme of things, this still isn't bad, but we constantly are leaving ourselves open to like fully wipe, and I don't like that idea. Again, we're stalling. We finally get wiped, so this is finally where the enemy team can take control. I don't necessarily see us like throwing this game, but we'll see how this plays out. Sometimes this game can kind of spiral. Oh, they made a little bit of a... I don't know when they get the pop. Is this something that they probably should have known? Well, after they get the wipe, they should be able to plan this out. This is a very awkward play for them. So they get the pop. They get the pop at 19. It takes 15 seconds for the Rainmaker to reset. So when you pop the Rainmaker and it's not sitting in the middle where it spawns, it takes 15 seconds for this to reset. So they should know this, and they should already be picking this up. Because this gives them 4 seconds, and there's like an animation for the pop and everything. With 4 seconds, you might be able to get pop, but it's very scary. I don't like us, like I like that we pick up Rainmaker from this spot, but we should have done it earlier. And we should know in this type of situation, like when we wipe the enemy team, like our brain is clear. We move forward and we paint, and like we should be discussing as a team, like what the next steps are. So this is a really big oversight. But the Zap is the one that jumps in. So yeah, I don't know. Someone else should be picking up if they're jumping in, but I don't blame them for wanting to get Zap. Like Cooler isn't the most useful special on a final push. It's not bad, but it's on average, it's not going to get as much value as like an Inkjet, as a Crab, as a Booyah Bomb. So I think all that's fine, but we scramble a little bit in terms of like, again, we have different ideas of how to approach all of this, and now we're fighting a 3v4 over here. This is like catastrophic. Okay. Oh no. Okay, we got the stop anyways. Yeah, things were a little bit dicey from both teams at the end there, but they're able to close it out. So, yeah, awesome game to watch. I feel like the few times that I've had, and again, I really appreciate Fantar for like submitting high level gameplay. I love analyzing high level gameplay. It's really hard to, you know, find scrims and codes that I can get. I probably will do more tournament stuff in the future, but no, I do appreciate that. And what am I trying to say? Yeah, awesome gameplay. There's a couple of things that I would go over. Honestly, I would probably say from like both teams 4% battery. Oh no. Go plug the phone in, please. I am not the person that can exist with a low battery. Now you're fine. 4% battery if I'm watching a stream is literally like 20 seconds. My battery drains so fast. But yeah, take care, Banky. I appreciate you being here and glad to see you're doing well. And if I play against Strawberry and I see you on the other team, it's GG. I don't know for me or for you, for one of us, but hopefully we can play against each other. I miss all of the Splatoon 2 fighting against Banky way back when. But yeah, take care. So yeah, a couple of things that I would just mention overall with all of this. I think there's a lot of conflicting ideas from both teams in certain spots. And what I mean by conflicting ideas, miss those snipes as well. True. I have so many, whenever I think about it, there's so many like, I don't know why. I always think about Piranha Pit. I feel like every time that we played against each other, it was always like Piranha Pit for whatever reason. We were playing the most degenerate modes like Piranha Pit TC and everything. So bad. So yeah, I think from both teams, I think I'm gonna be more specific in terms of, because Fantar is the sniper player on blue team. I'm gonna focus more on blue team, but I'm just a little bit concerned with, and again, this isn't to say that you're right or wrong. If you have an alternative opinion, obviously I have a lot of respect for high level players. Not that I can't disagree with them, but if they provide an alternative perspective on a lot of this stuff, I'm, more than open to like hear it. Opening I thought was really weird. I'm not sure why we went for, like, I don't know why 3 of us were going for pop while Ballpoint was painting for special. If I had to speculate, my guess is that we're trying to stall for this, but like if this team has 3 bombs and we have 2 bombs, and they have 4 players and we have 3 players, like this stall, in my opinion, doesn't feel worth it. We end up finding a very aggressive play after the pop, and like Fantar does a wonderful job of slowing this person down here and of taking this open lane and somehow get this really nice snipe when the inkjet on the enemy team that gets their early special, which is supposed to happen, but we get a nice snipe on them. So, we at least commit to an aggressive play, which we have to, because we did not paint at all over here. This was my concern, is that all we have is this paint. We know that the enemy team's gonna get pop, and we know that the enemy team's probably gonna get early special. So we're like sacrificing an entire side of the map, which feels very risky. And I would have liked to see us play a little bit more paint on the, just more setup. If I'm Splash and I know we're losing pop, I'm going to probably play in this type of area. I'm going to get paint all in this larger box, and I'm going to look for like an early crab over here. And if I need to back up, I can back up. I can back up this way, but I'd rather back up over here just because, you can cheat over, because most times they're going to push over to this side, and we can still keep painting for our crab, and we can end up crabbing like up here or something, or maybe we can get back into this position and crab up here. But yeah, I feel like, we played very fast and we played well as a team, but I feel like giving up all of this, knowing that they're going to get the pop, feels very scary. And we're basically like betting the farm at the beginning of a Rainmaker match on winning a solo fight, which like y'all have the talent to win the, just to outplay the enemy team, but it's a scary proposition for me. If you have enough confidence in your own gameplay, thank you for the hydrate. Welcome in, Astral. If you have enough confidence, I'm not going to say you shouldn't do it, but I feel like, especially in Rainmaker, I don't want to give up a massive push because we lost a fight at the beginning. It feels like a really, send you the replay. I can DM you the code. If you're in the replay Discord channel, you can find it. It's toward the top from Fantar, but I can DM you the code. So yeah, the opening I thought was a little bit, I question it. I would say reevaluate kind of the idea here. The other thing that I would say is I would say your pushes with lead. So when your team had a lead, and it was like, at this point, I think both of the pushes was when you had like 41. It was like 41 to 52, which the enemy team doesn't matter. All you had to, like, for the enemy team, they got past first checkpoint, and y'all were at like 41, which, like, 41, this is not a good, like, this isn't a safe push, I would say. Honestly, like, no, I would say any push outside of like 7 on this map isn't necessarily safe, because I don't know, this map can snowball pretty hard. But, you know, if we at least got it to like high 20s or something, like if we made it to Slick or something, when we were pushing the Rainmaker, I don't know why I'm doing it over here. So if we push Rainmaker and we got it to like, you know, like this type of area or something, and then we got splatted, this puts us in like, again, low 30s, high 20s, and I'm a lot happier with this lead. But 41 puts us in an interesting point because, you know, and this was also with like about 3 minutes, and it kept extending for the rest of the match. Or the clock obviously keeps going down. So like with something like 41, there's totally room for us to look for a better push to extend that lead. But it also is good enough to where if we feel confident in the way that we can hold, you know, if we can hold like Rainmaker and hold control so that they have to use specials back here, and, you know, maybe they get like 2 picks and then we get jumps into mid and we have special advantage and we can like retake this type of formation over here, then like I'm totally fine with that. It is a little bit scary at 41. So our team opts to play. So, you know, you ended up opting to be more aggressive. So you can like, you can focus control, which is like that playing in mid and just forcing out specials on the enemy team in very bad spots. Which requires a lot of coordination, because if you mess that up, like, you get punished super hard. Unfortunately, y'all didn't get punished super hard, but some of that was because of, you know, I felt like, again, it was another situation where Phantar's mechanics kind of bailed us out of the situation. The stamp was, or your stampers were really, really good. So we can play control, or we can look to, I can't, right. We can look to extend the lead, which is like, we end up opting for this, which I'm totally fine with. I'm okay with either of these. I would probably do something in the middle, but I would generally opt for extending the lead. But I don't love the way that we position, like the way that we played for the, like, getting more points, I wasn't a fan of. Because there was a lot of spots where like Phantar would be sitting back here with Stamper, and like 3 of our team is funneling through this small choke point. And like, we didn't look to like go wider and start like, or, you know, we didn't immediately try to take ring. We didn't immediately try to take, you know, this type of ledge, or like look to pressure this area. And once we did get into this type of spot and we could take points, again, we all like sat in this little area here, and we ended up getting our specials in time enough. Like, I think the result of these fights that happen and when we tried to extend the lead were as favorable for us as possible. I think if we play this match with these same decisions many times, I think over time we get punished a lot more than we end up getting here. So I think y'all played around those as well as you could, but I would question the ideas themselves. Just because if we're going to extend the lead, I want us to commit enough for that. And over time, like, we slowly won fights and we're able to do that. But there was a lot of room, especially when we were in these choke points, and the enemy team had an inkjet and were able to push us. And we didn't take like commanding positions where we could have like completely thrown. But over time, like later on in later pushes, we did, you know, Phantar did sit on ring, and we were able to like, you know, get these wider angles to be able to kind of push out them and even get onto their like plat area up here. Like, we were able to over time get over to these spots, but there was a couple of times where we almost lost control of the match, and we want to be careful about that. So I would say the other thing is, which I don't know. Honestly, this kind of just goes back to the conflicting ideas, but there was another one where I don't really know what I'd write as a bullet point, but there was a time where like Phantar was playing Stamper up here, Ballpoint was swimming in, and we tried to take an open fight, which like we ended up going for we tried to go for cover once we realized this was a bad fight to take against the Ballpoint, and then we ended up getting picked because Ballpoint just hit nice shots. But in this kind of situation, like you painted over here, we could shark behind this cover. So sorry, the fight was happening in this area over here. And so Fantar was kind of cheating anyone that was, some of them jumped in, and this is I think how they got their initial lead on the orange team. But Fantar kind of cheats this play, which again, what happened over here with the rest of the team, I think y'all got a little bit unlucky. But if we are going to go for this type of shark, like I'd rather us just like shark. We were like fishing for long vertical flicks against a BP when they were out of our range, and like we don't want to do that. You know, we painted this whole area for ourselves. We had paint back here. Like there's plenty of areas for us to be able to shark, and if we're gonna go for this type of play, I want us to slow it down. And again, like this whole setup on this side of the map and on this side of the map, it almost was bad, but we got bailed out by our mechanics. And I think that I think the overarching problem that I have is that we're focusing too much on, we're not focusing too much, but I think that our mechanics are out, like they're mitigating a lot of the risks that I don't think we necessarily need to take. But that being said, Fantar Stamper, a lot of really important picks in Zipcaster, a lot of important, you know, 2v1s. Fighting, they did a really good job of fighting in open spaces. You know, the way that they played around the enemy checkpoint in just so many different scenarios, like using this little piece of cover in this generally open area, perfect. Specifically, you know, when they were sitting here, they saw they were getting shot by a Zap or just some sort of short range shooter. They immediately back up, take space. So they are fighting a Zap outside of a range they can, well, technically they were like here, but outside of a range that Zap can like do any damage to us. And then we win that fight. And then the second that we see this Ballpoint over here, oh no, we got to get back the cover. And we end up winning that fight as well. It's just like, you know, again, with the opening, I question the initial pop, but afterwards, we recognize that the enemy team is not playing on the side, and we just take the space immediately. And that allows us to get into range for this. On average, we probably got a little bit lucky. There's maybe like a 30-40% chance that we get a pick on that Ballpoint. I wouldn't bank on getting that all the time, but it was still a really nice mechanical play. And all that happened is because we took space and we were able to like dominate these like open lanes. And so I don't know. I think our awareness when taking fights are really, really nice. But I think as a team, I think there's a lot of situations that we leave the door open for the enemy team to out mechanic us. And if they have better mechanics, then like they can have like a crazy push of their own. And I think as you, yeah, I was gonna say pretty solid stats all around. And yeah, a lot of these paint numbers are like, you can tell based off, like, these paint numbers aren't objectively good or bad, but you can tell based off of them that like we're focused on being more aggressive than like holding pushes. Like I feel like when we had like a lead, I would expect these numbers to be a little bit higher, but some of that is my own discomfort with playing a very fast-paced, aggressive playstyle. So there's a lot that I can take and implement in my own game from a lot of this, but there are certain decisions that I still stand by that I question a little bit. But overall, obviously, y'all are super good players, super good team. Obviously, best of luck in the French tournament that's going on. I feel like France has a lot of really solid teams, really solid players. So y'all all have your work cut out for you, but I don't know. Hopefully I can find a stream for it because I would love to watch. It's a lot of really good talent in France. But either way, good stuff. Awesome replay. And yeah, that's all I got for that. So we will jump in. Yo, what's up, Aesthetic? Welcome in. Can you do mine? Did you submit a replay? We're gonna go in order, so potentially. I'm not sure how many we're gonna be able to get to tonight. We'll probably do like a handful more for tonight. Again, this weekend I should have a lot of time, so I'll have longer streams. Tonight can't be as much of a longer stream because I still have to like do work and stuff tomorrow and be present in a lot of stuff. But I will, like I said, by the end of the weekend, my goal is to like catch up on everything. But right now we're gonna go in the order that they are submitted. So next, okay, we did Sun's review. And so I think next is Echo. And yeah, if anyone would like to get the replay code, there's probably like, we probably have room for a handful more reviews that I can get through within the weekend. Because like I said, I'm gonna have some long streams, or my goal and plan is to have some really long streams this weekend. So if you would like to get something reviewed, I would probably say the next hand, like 2 or 3 that get submitted, I could almost guarantee that we'll definitely be able to get through. But yeah, definitely feel free to get those in. But anyways, we're gonna keep going through, and hopefully these replay codes will work. But Echo submitted a replay. All right. L3. L3D. Clamblets on the Wahoo. Very interesting. Alright. Oh wait, this is the H3, right? That's not even L3, that's H3. This is like wall bubble, right? So real quick before we get started, I want to brave, that's what I'm saying. When's the resurgence of H3 players saying that their weapon is good? Because they like pop off and get like 25 kills in a match, and then they have to like play that weapon over multiple matches and be like, you know, consistency on this weapon can be hard when it doesn't have an incredible special. It's a hard weapon. I could not play H3. It's such a satisfying weapon, but I'm still bad. Wait, waiting for Factory to pick it. Oh, that'd be cool. But I don't know. I would like to see it get another good kit, but there's also other weapons that I think its current kit isn't bad, but it's just like not. It's not fully it. What's the other kit for H3? Does it have a tactical? Sensor tactical. Wait, why is the original kit like not good? I think this is the main weapon is just not consistent enough. Currently a scam, real. True. No. I think H3 is an interesting weapon, but I don't know how. I guess the point. I don't know how H3 does against like stuff running at it. Like I think it just depends on you being good at the weapon. If Inkjet wasn't as strong, well, I don't know. There's a whole ripple effect. Yeah, H3 probably isn't. Just it has like kits that like make sense in the meta, but the weapon is just too inconsistent. Buff main weapon. I think they would have to in order for it to see play. Because like Kohler makes sense. Point sensor, I actually like both of its kits. I actually really like. Maybe not together, but like all the pieces like make a lot of sense. But you know, I don't think that it. Main weapon is just too tough to use. IMO. But I haven't played against like I've never been in a meta where H3 is like popular, so I haven't really played against H3 outside of like people trolling in solo queue. So the OG kit is point sensor tacticaler, which solid. I don't know. I think point sensor is underrated in the meta, and I think tactical lore obviously has a place, and H3 can vomit them out. And then the H3D is wall and bubble, which we see up here. Which, like, I don't know. Like all of these tools have a spot in the meta currently, but like I don't know. It's just one of those things where unless you're like hitting your shots, I don't know if it being a painter is like enough. Wait, did Cherry have like the bubbles or whatever? The invincible bubble? I gotta finish this. Is it just H3D? Is that what it's called? H in 3D? Oh wait, the H, it's H hyphen 3. That's how you can tell I'd never play these weapons. I don't know how. I don't know how this gets abbreviated. We'll just put Deco because whatever. Alright. Anyways, and then let me see the original message deleted. I know they reviewed stuff in the wait, did they submit another game? They did not. Maybe they did. Oh shoot. Wait, they submitted another code? Oops. Well, they shoot, sorry. Okay. I'm just gonna review their later code later because I like to I only want people to submit one code at a time. So if they prefer that other code, if they deleted their initial post and then submitted another one, then we'll do that. So let's see how they did. I can give like a 2-second review. Good stats. Paint seems a little. Oh, actually, it might have been a quick game. Alright, my bad. Alright, sorry. You have a charger game later. We'll get to it. H3 nozzle nose D if you're feeling cute. Okay, H3 then space D. It's not Deco? Wait, what does the D stand for? Dolphin? D's? Wait, what does the D stand for? D's. Wait, what is D's? I don't get it. What is D's, dude? What does that mean? Oh shoot. RV03CTL 3KAOJ. Okay. Shoot. Alright. I don't think I made a mistake. So okay. That's a good replay too. That was a low ink match. I'm actually interested in watching that. But we'll skip over it for now. And we'll keep it going. Nuts. When's the last time someone's actually got hit with the D's nuts stroke? Is that not considered cool anymore, or is it still, do people still appreciate it when it happens? It just doesn't happen as much because people are privy to the meme. Alrighty. So we have a match with the So yeah, when stuff gets updated, we'll get into it. But anyways, Plurm has a VDS code. This is X rank. Hog. Let me update this while all this information's in front of me. I don't wait and start making mistakes. VDs, as the kids call it. And so this is X rank. I think they said 2347. Very precise. I appreciate that. Trying to get to 27. I respect that. Game felt like it spiraled out of control near the end. Not sure what I could have done to stop it or handle it better. Oh, yo, welcome in, Plurm. Hello, hello. Yes, right on time. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah, we will get into it. How have you been enjoying VDS? I know some people have been experimenting with it more. Ooh, there's a lobby. Y'all are playing against some gamers. Wait, I don't know if that twig, I feel like lurking very often. Appreciate that. I don't know if that's the, like, I feel like there's multiple twigs that play 52 and they're all solid. There's one twig that plays for Aquatic Vanguard. I think they still do, still do. I don't remember. They're really good. They play like Charger Brush, I think. I don't remember. But there's other twigs. There's one that's like a top level 3K twig, and then there's another like mid level twig. They're both really, really good on 52. So I don't know which one, but Joe is also on used to be on Nightmare. They're got that Sway sponsorship. I don't remember their name. Is it just Nightmare still? I don't remember. Either way, you're playing against some gamers. This is gonna be tough. You do have John Lennon on your team. Respect. Yeah. So when we're looking at one second. Sorry, there's cool stuff happening in the background. All right, so sorry, back into it. Very fun. Don't know about its competitive viability. I think that's fair. I do think that in the current meta, being able to stay alive and be annoying is, there's a place on a lot of team comps to be able to do that. And you also like the other variant of the CDS is nice because you have the option to, if you don't want to run Wiper, you can still like the Wiper with the beacon missiles, which is still a good kit in its own respect. You have the option to run a beacon with the custom variant, but this variant is a little bit more, I think its kit's pretty solid, but it's a little bit more focused on like, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but you have more aggressive tools with Wavebreaker and with the Spot Bomb. So anyways, so we're playing Clan Blitz on this map. I think the biggest things, it really is just, you know, this area gets really congested when we're trying to push, or sorry, it would be on the other side. It's like pushing this way is gonna, like getting through here is like very congested, so we need to like think about our specials. I believe this is the Inkjet variant. It's hard to tell because yeah, there it is. It was hard to tell because there's like this little block here. It's like, ugh. Anyways, it's like we have the tools for it. We have double Inkjet. We have a Crab, which Crab is really, really good on this map. IMO, in my opinion. And then we have bombs, and like Wavebreaker is also another nice option here. So we really need to focus on coordinating our specials when we're like in this type of situation ready to push. Whether we have Crab up here to help break this area and like get some shots over on this area, or you can have Inkjet jumping over this way. You could probably have Inkjet like over here. I don't really know all the Inkjet spots. Like on this left side when we're pushing, or I guess it'd be right side when you're pushing. I don't really know exactly where Jet wants to land. I mean, you could also just do it from this little area here, but either way, if we're patient, we have the specials for like really good pushes. The enemy team 52, especially these strong 52s, are very scary. Guys, get on this man. Looking to see in your bones, you know that it's, you know I'm talking about Scorch. That's where my brain goes when I think about this. But the true. But yeah, that's Crap's good on a lot of maps, and I always love Scorch. Yeah, against our comp, there's a lot of pressure from Whales, from Blaster, Crab themselves, and like just pushing up. They're just knowing the players themselves. These people are very strong mechanically, and they both play extremely aggressive. So we need to make sure we're spacing ourselves properly to like play against them. But we have our work cut out for us. There's a lot of ranges. Like on the enemy team, they have a lot of different types of weapons that you have to play at a mix of a lot of different ranges. It's not like we're playing against all short range shooters, so you can just kind of bump up to them and just leave space not to die to them. Like if you, depending on where you're taking fights, you have to be aware of like where Blaster is, where, you know, even something like the Tri-Stringer, because they can probably punish you after your 2 rolls if you, because there's like a little bit of downtime, but after your second roll, that a lot of times, like as a shooter, I usually try to punish people between those, like that second roll, or for Tetra, like after their 4th roll. And that's like my opportunity, like my small window to really like jump on them. But we have to be careful just because they have a lot of weapons that we have to deal with. So I'm interested to see like your spacing and how you decide to be able to play. But I think if we can stall out long enough, I think our comp in general is like a little bit better. But I don't know a lot of people in these games, and I know that these 2 people are very, very solid. So yeah, you'll have your work cut out for you. And I think at the beginning, so you can kind of play around mid, but the only problem with playing mid against their comp is that Blaster can sit in a lot of areas and still get a lot of chip on you. So I'd be okay with you playing like wider on like one side versus the other, and like look to push with Crab, look to push with an Inkjet. So in my opinion, I kind of see you being stally and just poking at the enemy team until you are playing as a team for like those bigger pushes. There's not going to be a lot of opportunities for you to like jump on the enemy team unless your team's fully committing. So if you feed a lot, that probably is, I'd start looking at positioning, but we'll see how it goes. And you have to play pretty wide. Yeah, again, we're seeing frustrations having to deal with the 52. That's tough. The overall opening, I think you play this pretty well. Yeah, those things happen. I wouldn't worry about too much. There's this one spot where we need to, like, I think we lost a little bit of like I think we get a little bit too focused here. And when we don't really have a good vantage point of what's happening over here and like what's happening over here. So I'm a little bit concerned about us just being as much in the open as we are in this kind of situation. Like, especially we hear our teammate go down, we have to like start shifting our focus, which we do roll and like reposition, but like there's this little opportunity where this person could have potentially like came in and punished you. And the one thing that I do want to like kind of look at from a higher level is like general paint, which like their team's not fighting for mid. So like there's definitely an opportunity. There's an opportunity for you to potentially push up here. I think the way you played it is probably like, I think in general, the way that you play it is like the best, but when you see your teammate go down, you have to be a little bit more cautious about the splash, because they just choose a different target, and if they chose you, you're kind of stuck. Our specials are better? Yeah. They probably have like a bit of a player advantage just because I'm familiar with them and I'm biased, but yeah, I do think comp-wise, y'all are super chillin'. Nubian? I don't even know what those words are, but welcome in. Or not welcome in, you were here. We were talking not too long ago. But yeah, hello. Thank you for the introduction. You're too educational for words are too big for my brain to process. Again, we're able to slow down, which I like. That this Toxic Mist here is a really big pain for your team. But let's just see how this plays out. This fight's starting to get a little bit extended. Wavebreaker gets a pick. Yo, nice follow shots. It's tough you don't get the pick, but yeah, it feels like we're a little bit, like we're underneath the left side a little bit too long, in my opinion. I think you positioning here initially for your team to look to start pushing in is good. Like, preventing them, like, holding control of this area and, like, fighting for it is good. But, like, once we start using specials, I want us to look for more opportunities to be more aggressive. They do use a crab. Like, they crab, so, like, there isn't a good spot, especially since they get the pick. Like, there isn't a ton of opportunities. I think even here you're still okay. But I think when we, like, overly focus on this area over here, like, we lose a little bit of awareness on what's happening on the other side of the map. Like, fortunately, our teammate gets a trade over here, so we're, like, chilling. We shouldn't have anything that's trying to flank us, but it almost feels like we're a little bit too focused on this side. Because, like, we can't really push. Because that's the thing, is, like, we don't... So this area that we're sitting in, to fight for their dome, to fight for this little great area, this is really good. There's a lot of room for us to move backwards, like we can roll around, there's cover relatively nearby, we can push in front. There's a lot of spots for us to be able to move around, but when we start looking to transition into like pushing through this choke, or look to be more aggressive, like unless we have like specials pushing in with us, we have to be really careful about like crossing this area. Because we're crossing underneath this area like really close to the wall. And because we're playing a longer range weapon as the CD or VDS, we want to hold that range as much as possible. And the second that we take, like we cross over here, which I will go back into the short version, but I just wanted to show, like, I like you holding this position when taking this kind of fight, but we can't just turn the corner and take a fight when our specials and like when our teammates are spawning in and we don't have pressure from like a crab, we don't have pressure from you know, an inkjet or something. If those things are in the air and like they're fighting for like this area or something, then it's okay for you to just kind of run in. But we have to be really careful about this type of decision, because the second that we like turn this corner, like we're in a short range fight with 2 short range shooters, we're not gonna be able to win these. So in general, I would say that like you probably just slow it down a little bit. I think you get a little bit hasty. Like, I would love for us to be able to start pushing, but you know, they get crab out, which is dangerous for us, and then they splat our inkjet, so like we can't really push at that point. But I think at a certain point we just get like too antsy. Like in this kind of situation, we could look to push. It would be nice if like our crab like got crab up here or something and like comboed with what we were trying to do, so we could start pushing with it. But because they don't use their crab, like I think this play effectively just kind of goes out the window and we just kind of have to reset. So at this point, I think we just either sit here still, or we can like look to poke at these areas, but we can't like turn in this way. We want, like, our end goal is this, but when we don't have, like, if we don't have crab out and our ballpoint is still coming out of spawn, we have to like slow it down. And like we can sit here and still poke like this. What we've been doing in the last 10 seconds, we can still keep doing it. It looks like our team is fighting for over here. But if you know, if there are fights that are happening here, like this is where spot bombs are really good. Behind this block here, behind this block over here. You know, anyone that's in this pit down here, you can poke at them with bombs. So if you wanted to reposition like farther this way to help with this fight, I'm fine with it. But I'm also okay with you watching this left drop. I would be more tempted to move over this way simply because we do have a crab. So I'm assuming once our ballpoint gets back in, our teammate's gonna crab from probably mid, and they can totally watch this area over here. So I think now is an okay opportunity for you to look to start rotating to the other side and let your crab like watch this side. But we just get very impatient with this. We don't have the damage to like follow up on this person, and we just effectively get punished. But again, I think the way that you played it is totally fine. I think you were ready to move forward if your teammates were able to like get value out of their specials, but we didn't get the value out of specials. That's out of your control. And outside of you pushing there, I think you, for the most part, you played that pretty well. I have no problems. Yeah. Our team opts to give space, which, you know, if they end up using crab, which is like one of their high value resources, and they don't get any picks, then I'm okay with that, because we should be able to take back mid with our specials. Yeah, I like you going for paint, giving your jet an opportunity for a pick. That's unfortunate. Unfortunately, we don't get any value in that area, but again, I think the way that you played that was totally fine. This isn't right or wrong, but these are just like other ideas. But I don't know if it was before. So when we were in mid temporarily, like, again, this isn't like a mistake or anything, but like when we're fighting for this is a good time to use like a bomb potentially. Because like we're not going to stay here for too long, but we can fight for mid a little bit. Like we can hold mid a little bit longer if we get a bomb out like behind this area. Like if they're up here, then we get a bomb behind this pillow. If they drop off, then we get a bomb on this ledge, like in front of this ledge, or drop it underneath the ledge. And just fight for mid a little bit more. Because if you give this, like if you throw that bomb around this pillow, this person can't just push you. which like they get crab out and they don't have a specific target they're going for. So, you know, I think you played it okay, but there's little moments like that. And this is just kind of like the edging out value whenever possible. There's little opportunities for you to be able to like improve in these kind of improve. And, you know, in this spot, it wouldn't have mattered because once they crab, you have to back up anyways. But there's certain spots like that where like they just bullied you off mid. Like Splash bullied you as a VDS, and like you don't need to do that, especially when you had a full tank at the time. But again, you play it totally fine. We wait out the crab. We have specials to push with our own, which is what we end up doing. Like this whole play, this whole sequence is great. It's just unfortunate we don't end up finding the pick. When we do have Jet out like this, that's like already hitting this spot, I don't know if we want to like poke. Like this is a spot where we can actually be a little bit more aggressive and we can get a bomb on the other side of this. Because this person doesn't have they don't have a lot of space to maneuver. We can watch it from a top-down view, but I would imagine they don't have a lot of paint. So yeah, like right now, they have no paint. They have nowhere to go. This is an opportunity for you to like press this a little bit harder with bombs. If you can get a good bomb like on the other side of this cover, this person probably dies or jumps out. They might be able to dance around. So like if you wanted to like swing and like take the fight from like over here, I'd be okay with it if you wanted to stay wide. If you play closer to mid, you have to be careful about people dropping on you. So like it's a little bit scary. But I think we can be a little bit more aggressive with our poke, especially since we just exhausted like an inkjet. Like we have better specials, but when we do use our specials, we want to try to do our best to get value. So like in other parts of the match, I'm totally fine with you max ranging, getting shots and like just poking this person. But when we've committed an inkjet and they've committed into being over here and this person's in a really compromised position, I think this is where we look to use a bomb to like get value. But again, all in all, I think this is okay. Unfortunate that they were able to kind of get to us there. But I think that whole sequence like made sense. So I would say kudos. Unfortunate that we didn't find value. But there's an opportunity for you to be a little bit more aggressive on the VDS. And like you pressured them, but I think you can pressure with a bomb and better positioning. Nice bomb. In that situation. Yeah, like this spot is totally fine. And now we can start moving forward because there's 2 down. So yeah, person ran away. I feel like we're getting too so we'll let you cook a little bit, and then I'm gonna back it up real quick. Nice. Yeah, I love your spacing, in like most of these situations. Yeah, Sting. That's a little too dangerous. All right, a couple things. I like that played out the way it did. Unfortunately, you went down, but there's a couple things I do want to go over in this situation. So there are 2 down, you get those shots, you get paint, and now you're moving forward. This is good. We could have poked that with a bomb potentially after we dropped, just to potentially avoid that, but I'm okay with it. But the thing I want to mention in this spot, you just killed 2, like that bomb that you threw in their pit over here, you splatted both of these people, which means that they have a range blaster and they have a tri-stringer. I want us to be a little bit more, like I like that we drop, and like it's tough to, like we could potentially look to keep moving forward and take a fight with a blaster. It's not the worst thing in the world. But regardless, I want us to be more aggressive with our positioning. Like we get here and like we can totally just like take top mid. I would like to see us like play around top mid before the enemy team, especially their front line, like gets back into position. We're in a really unique opportunity where we can take a lot of space because our bomb went crazy. And so we just play around the outskirts of the map where we, like, you know, in normal situations, I'm totally fine. Like with the opening and like when our team was pushing, when our team has control of mid, I'm totally fine with you like playing around the outskirts and bullying. But, you know, when these 2 people are spawning in still, this is where we can cut toward mid a little bit more. And then this is where like we can throw a bomb here, we can throw a bomb here, and we can like slowly start playing around this pillow. Because when we're sitting in top mid, we have the option to drop here, we have the option to push forward, we have the option to drop here, but we just want to control this area. And like we're going to control this area like looking to play around one of our specials. And we already have an Inkjet up, but I think we can accelerate the game a little bit more, and I think we want to because their front line is still like down. Like Twig's able to jump in, and Jet like pushes them back, and this is where we need to like take. Like, we should already be in mid, and we like, because if we already took mid in this type of situation, when this person starts shooting at the 52, they're isolated. They don't have a lot of paint. This is where we can opt to drop on this person if we want to, you know, or we can drop for a play over here, or we can start getting bombs and like swim closer to this ledge and like figure out what's happening back here. I feel like I couldn't push through the range. I tried to ignore it and go around. Sort of like, so you can't. I'm sure if this was like Jared or something playing, like they would just hold forward, like, oh, I didn't die. I'm just gonna like move forward and fight this person. Like if they're still here, I'm gonna fight them. But I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree that this person, like, I don't think we can just like push this like we were initially trying to do. But once we get into this type of position, like this is where we're respecting this range too much. Yo, what's up, Turtle Man? Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well, my friend. But in this kind of situation, this is where if we start taking mid helps us get information and figure out what's happening here. In order for this person to punish us, they would have to be like up here. They'd have to be out in the open, no cover to be behind. And we have to trust that, like, you know, between our blaster, our BP, and our splash, which like splash is over here, so they're not going to help us. But between our other two weapons, someone should be watching this area. And you can lead, like when you're climbing up this area, so before you climb up this, you can throw a bomb in this area to prevent them from like taking that spot, just to give you enough room to like get into this type of position and evaluate where they're at. But I think we take this opportunity now to like take control of mid. It's really important to have mid, and I think as a duelie, it's like any sort of duelie actually can get a lot of value in mid, because you can hold these positions so the rest of your team can like also get into good positions. Because if you hold this, it's a lot easier for your splash to like come up here and look to get a crab out and start fighting up here. Like if you can hold this area, then it helps the rest of your team be able to get into position. Yeah. And that's the nice thing about being in like a power position. Like top mid is definitely like a power position in this on this map. Yo, what's up, Sage? I mean, it's good in most maps. It's just like general tactics. But you know, on this map specifically, because it is like the high point, is really important to take control. Because the biggest thing is that it provides flexibility. There's not, when you take top mid, there isn't like one specific play of like, oh, you should like, you need to take top mid because like you have to take like this fight, like this is wide open. You know, other people in other situations, they might see that and be able to make that kind of assessment. I don't necessarily see that currently, but I just want to point out that like you open up your options and you have more visibility on the map as a whole by holding mid in this situation, and you want to take that just whenever possible. Alright. Sorry. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, top mid. Top mid's very important. You should try to attack that and hold it whenever possible. Also, welcome in Sage. I don't know if I said that or if I said it in my head, but welcome in. Nice to see you. And like no one on our team fights for mid in this entire situation, which is what causes us like troubles. Like imagine throughout all of this, I'm gonna play it back real quick, but just imagine throughout this whole play if you were able to drop this way, or this way at any point. And like if you need to be defensive, you can also back out. But like just imagine the opportunities to help in so many positions if you establish mid control faster in this situation. And then we'll keep going forward. But mid control is really important. Traditionally against their team, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities just to push it up. Like you can sit back here. Like I'm not saying you should never take top mid because you're very strong. This is an open lane in order for you to be able to poke at them. And especially with the VDS variant where you have a splat bomb, that's a very aggressive, fast shooting bomb. Like you can bully people off the pillow. You can bully people off of this ledge. You have a lot of value with your kit in the way that you can play this, but it's not always the easiest thing for you to do. But if you can attack it, you should. But I just want to show. So like you start pushing right, which is fine. I think your teammates should be pushing mid in this spot, but like right now, you start climbing mid, you're in mid now, and like maybe you throw a bomb at this person, but like you can see that this person, like, you know, the second that, and this is just a torpedo, the second that they throw any bomb at this blaster, like they are giving up that space. So like imagine if you're in this spot and you start playing around this pillow because you saw that this blaster jumped down. And now you're sharking in mid. You have this paint, you can like start lurking up forward and just look at all these opportunities. So you could drop on this person is one. You can drop behind this person that's chasing your splash. That's two. All right, the other two are backing off. So those are the only real two opportunities, but both of them are very, very high value plays. Yeah, for sure. But again, I see your brain is thinking the right things. There's just a slight difference in positioning that can like make the situation a little bit better. My dog has like a little patch of skin. He like got his like teeth cleaned and stuff, so they put him under anesthesia for that process, and so he just starts licking at the area and starts messing up the skin. Either way, it's neither here nor there. But yeah, there was an opportunity for us to get those picks, which like we end up taking control. But you see that like our team isn't necessarily like structured for this whole play. And again, I like the way that you played it. I think jumping out and challenging this crab, especially when it's almost done, I don't think is worth it. I think being in this position and being annoying is fine, but you get a ton of value just sitting behind this block and just being a threat. You just keep your camera on this area and you threaten anyone that like tries to start taking this area, this spot. But you don't have to have like, with this crab out, like they're not really threatening anyone and it's almost done. You can just let them exist. Like there's certain times where shredding crab is important, but it's also important to know when not to shred crab. Again, overall, I love your idea. I love the speed at which you start playing, but I think we can take top mid a lot faster. Oh, yeah, we got stuck in mist. That's unfortunate. And a ton to criticize there. I like poking bombs here, but now there's 3 down, so we can just start taking spot like aggressive position. Yeah, like we should be mid. We should be mid. There's 1 person left. We're either we're not respecting the value that we get out of mid, or we're respecting the enemy team too much to where we're not pushing mid as fast as we should be. Because especially the second the blaster's down, we should just hold forward. You can't respect a tri-stringer in this situation when you have this cover. Like, you have this as cover, you have this as cover, you have a bomb. So like when you start trying to climb up to top mid, and like you don't have to just climb top mid, you can play around like either of the sides of top mid. Because the other thing is that if you start pressuring mid, this person has to drop off. They can't defend top mid themselves. And like you should, if you take space fast enough, they can't provide jumps. I wonder, because you don't take space, I would assume if the enemy team, they're probably not jumping, but like right now, if I'm the enemy team, I'm probably jumping because there's like no paint in mid. If y'all start threatening paint, then yeah, like they know that they shouldn't push in because this person shouldn't be top mid, but they actually could have got a jump in if they kind of like just forced it. Because like this person's in control of mid, it's gonna be hard for us. Like we have to waste a special to be able to take that space back. Or a blaster makes a really nice play. But we're just like a little bit too timid. And again, I don't know if you're just too scared to make the play, or if you just feel like it could just be a thing where you auto, like, because sometimes I'll autopilot and I won't think about like certain positions on the map. I'm like, oh yeah, like I'll watch, and this is why it's important to watch like other people play the same weapon you do. Because like I'll watch like top Japanese players that are playing like Splash or Zap or something. I'm like, why don't I do that? Like I was watching shoot, I think it was Clicks. I think I was watching Clicks in, I think it was just a solo queue. It might have been a tournament or a scrim, but I think it was just solo queue. And like they played around the spinner on Museum. Like they climbed and like they took an angle, and just the whole way they played it like made me reevaluate, and it gave me this idea that's like, yeah, no, I don't even think about doing this. And they got this really clever, it's like a cute play and a cute pick, but it's something that I just never thought about, and it wasn't a tool in my tool belt. And now I have a new, another idea as like a mix up whenever I go for those types of plays in the future. So it's like, it's interesting. Scared of the bow? Yeah, you gotta get that confidence up, my friend. Yeah, you can't do both. Because the other if you're if I'm the bow in the spot, anyone that can get, any shooter that can get underneath me, I don't want to play against it. Like you should be a little bit uncomfortable, and thank you for the hydrate. You should be a little bit uncomfortable pushing the bow, but the bow is way more uncomfortable with you pushing them, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like your feelings are totally valid in this situation, but they're more pressured than you are. And if you want to continue to improve, and this is something that I struggle with a lot, because I often opt to take like I saw significant improvement from Splatoon 2 going into Splatoon 3, just fully understanding the value of holding forward. Like I know it's strong, but like actually committing to it and being fast, and like Splatoon is just so fast of a game that when there is a window to do stuff, you have to like not think about it and just go for it. So like if you submit another review, which I would love, love to see more, 10 out of 10 times, I'd rather you run at that bow and just like die. And if you get sniped, then it's like, oh, could we have position? Like, is our routing not great? Is there, could we have thrown a bomb to give us more time? Like, I'd rather us evaluate an issue with the execution than not going for the play at all, because we just give up too much space. Which the enemy team, they're using their specials pretty fast and loose, so, see, now I like you taking mid. Yeah, I think we panicked a little bit here. So there's a couple of things that I want to mention with this whole play. And I think this is a way that sometimes people just have a hard time. Like, I think a lot of people don't think about Clam Blitz in this way. Which I don't love your splash going for the initial score, but I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. This is a very like opportunistic play. I'm chilling with it. But the thing that I want to bring to your attention in this situation, we have to score 4 clams in order to take lead. And we want to take lead. There's not a lot of time left. The numbers are turning yellow sometimes, so it's like, oh no, there's not a lot of time left. The other way of approaching this, like we're thinking about this as like, oh, this is like our push. Like this is our one push. But you don't have to think about Clan Blitz in that way. Because if you get this score, even if it's just an 80 push, which generally isn't great, in the context of this match, it's not bad at all. And the reason why getting this type of push isn't bad is because your teammate getting a score and then being able to crab up here, it forces the enemy team to have to like move back. Like we're panicking when we're in a power position. Not like where we're positioned currently, but like as a team, we should be able to take mid for free. I'm not using this score as an opportunity to take the lead. It's a very common thing that people would like to do. And like y'all do get lead either way, like your other teammate goes for it. But with where you're positioning here, you know, like let's say, and like there's so much time left too. Let's say that your splash pops crab up here. If they get another pick and you can start pushing and scoring, go for it. But we don't want to panic. I can just tell there's panic in your eyes of, oh, like I can't really push this way because I'll get like you're so focused, like you're tunneled on the fact that you have to score power clams now, or you have to score to keep the basket open because you scored a power clam, and you don't need to think that way. You can think of this as an opportunity of like, oh man, we get mid for free, like our splash is in this great spot. Like this score should help you win mid. My goal, I'm okay, which again, y'all take lead here. I'm okay with losing numbers wise currently. If y'all can hold mid out of this push, which you probably can get more if we just slow it down a little bit. But don't worry, if this basket closes and we're still losing, there's still basically a minute. Like with overtime, there's at least a minute left. You have a power clam still. There's nothing to panic about. Y'all just gotta pick. Y'all are in a really strong position, but you give away that position because you just die for free because you're like panicking. You're like, I need to immediately score, which like we have plenty of time from this clock. But from your perspective, you're like, I have to score. This is our only chance. Versus like, let's take mid. Let's use our win condition of like actually having really good specials and just slow it down. Because if we can hold mid for another like 30 seconds, we just have to score a power clam and we win the game. A second power clam puts us at 70, which gives us the lead. So we do not have to panic here. And this is like a mentality shift. It's for Clan Blitz. This is literally for like every map mode though. We talked about it before in Rainmaker. We talked about it in like same thing as in TC, or a common tactic in tower control, like higher level, is like just keep the tower in front of you and just hold mid. Like no matter what the mode is, like holding mid is always very strong. So if there isn't an opportunity to get easy clam scores, like, okay, this person dies, I don't care. If I can work with my blaster and I can throw a bomb back here and I can pressure these people, if we can get picks, we're like super chilling. You know, I don't blame your ballpoint for wanting to jump this in, but I would, you know, if I'm the ballpoint, I'm probably fighting for mid as well. But I'm okay with this decision, but this is going to probably snowball against us and the enemy team's going to have a counterattack because you die in this situation. You do not have to do objective work currently. This is a lot more time than you think it is. If you're holding control of mid after a score, it's so easy to get a second score, especially if you already have a ball. Or like, you know, you can use the pods around the map and make another ball. But right now, my priority is like holding mid control. It's not going in and scoring. And it's a really important concept for you to think about. And it's not like a you problem. This is like, everyone makes this mistake. There's players that are way better than me that make this mistake all the time. Like, I think the two biggest things, dude, if my mechanics were good, if I had like, I don't know, who's someone that's mechanically gifted? I mean, just any top player. If I was like, if I had Jared level mechanics, or if I had like 0 level mechanics or something, or Kyo or something, dude, I would be like the best player. Like, I'll never be that good because I'm a boomer and like, you know, I'm not gifted like that. But I don't know. A lot of people, which like those players, like, you know, those players play the game really smart. But there's a lot of players that are like mid-level and like higher mid-level that force, like they either force their specials or they force objective in a way that they just should not. Just quite simply, they should not do it. And they just throw value or they throw matches because they panic in situations like this. So that's why I like want to put a lot of emphasis on this, because it feels like this may or may not be an idea that you like open up to, or not that you open up to. It might not be something that you're thinking about actively. So I want to plant that seed and allow you to kind of, you know, let the idea brew a little bit, and then in your next Clan Blitz games you can start thinking about this stuff. Because some people might come out of this play and be like, oh, like I should have, like, instead of jumping out in the open, I should have like went behind here and I should have jumped over. It's like, no, this whole idea is just, it's useless. We need to think about the bigger picture here. Like, yes, that would have that would have been a slightly better idea. Instead of jumping out in the open, you jump out like back here. But like the more important idea is that we don't need to take lead currently. We need to be helping our blaster take mid. That's the higher value play. Feeling like having lead feels good, but the second that y'all take lead and you're probably gonna wipe. Okay, like this is an example I was talking about before, where like you can use Inkjet to like stall the team. There's actually a really good Inkjet from your teammate to be able to stay alive, because your team can actually push back in the mid. And we'll jump back to your perspective, but like your team just wiped. Your team is basically like at a disadvantage now. Like I would, and obviously, you know, we know how this game ends. They got away with murder. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And welcome in, Suns. Hello, hello, hello. Like, we know the outcome of this game, so it's not me trying to just predict the future, but like, if I'm this team, if y'all win the fight in mid and orange team still has lead, you know, if it's 71 to 80 and we have mid control, I'm confident as the team with 80. But with how this situation turned out, where we effectively wipe the other team, we have like decent paint in mid, we should be able to fight for mid pretty freely. Even as the orange team losing the game point wise, I'm way more confident in us getting another push, because all we have to do is score a power clam. And oh man, math is hard sometimes. Minus the 6, I think they need 2 extra clams. It's just 85, yeah, so they need 2 clams after their score. So it's like, can they, with mid control and probably like y'all just exhausted like all of your specials, y'all might get specials in time to stall, but these people just use their specials and they're down. And like Jet probably, yeah, like no one on your team has specials. They should be able to fight for mid for free. Like, even though your team is technically winning the game and like mentally it helps, like there's less pressure when you feel like there's less pressure when you have a lead. But for your team, this is like disastrous. They're gonna take mid, they're gonna get specials before you. Like, we're scared. You have to come up with like a really clever play in order to make this type of play work. This is almost where like I would almost advise you to like shark with like existing paint, like shark over here, or like shark in like a weird off angle over here, and like try to get a pick. Because if you don't slow down their momentum here, like they're in such an advantageous state right now. If we're unable to slow their momentum down, and that's where like sharking can help slow the enemy team momentum. That's one of the nice values that you can get. So even if you like trade or something, if you can get a pick on like 52, it alleviates a lot of pressure for the rest of your team to get the push. So like, you know, commonly like just sharking and like forcing a play as a VDS, it doesn't really make sense, but in this spot, we need something to like slow the pace of the game down. Otherwise, we're going to get snowballed on by all their specials and all their map control. I need to get water, and then we're going to watch an epic conclusion to this match. But if you have any questions with that, if you have any pushback, I'm happy to like have this conversation. It's just, this is the idea. Like, this is how I kind of see the game. And, you know, again, I talked about it a lot during the Rainmaker match in the previous matchup. These types of conversations we don't really have as a community all that much. Like this type of conversation, if you're like watching a top level player like stream or something, like Kyo was doing VOD reviews and stuff today. I have to go back to that. That was super sick. Kyo's so smart. Like whenever Kyo, like I love Kyo's stream. It's so like memey and so like just, you know, like it's just a funny experience. And there's like good gameplay in the background. But like if Kyo wants to be like super like thoughtful about the game, they're so smart about the game. And I saw that they were doing some other reviews. I wasn't able to actually watch it, so I'm probably gonna go back and watch that sometime later. But yeah, these are the types of like ideas and the parts of the match that I would love to have conversations and talk about with like higher level players, because I don't know the proper answer. I can tell you this is not in your favor currently. I can absolutely tell you this is not in your favor. But you know, I would be, someone smarter than me could say, you know, I disagree, and you know, getting the jump in and getting the score, maybe it makes sense because you're Tetra, I mean you're a VDS and you can like roll around and stay alive and be annoying and you get to stall for longer. Like I don't know, I'd be open to other ideas, but yeah. I don't know why I feel like I'm mid with Tetras and I need guidance. Yeah, I'm happy to help. Also, welcome in, Neo. Hello. So hi. Hello. Yeah, I need to get water real quick because my mouth is really dry. But yeah, if you want to post a replay, I'm gonna, like, this weekend I'm basically gonna dedicate to doing like a ton of other views. So there's already a bit of a backlog, but there's still a few spots left. So if anyone really wants to get a VOD review this weekend, you know, now would be the time to find the replay code and like save your spot, because we go in the order that they get submitted. Anyways, I'll be back in a second. All right. Very enlightening. It's not really something I've learned to think about. Yeah, for sure. And the only reason why I know this is partially because I've played other games competitively, but a lot of it is just what am I trying to say? A lot of it is because I like play just a lot of competitive matches, and then I have to sit down in my own VODs and I'm like, why did we lose this game? And because like a previous iteration of me as a player would be like, oh man, like nice, we got lead, like, you know, we had the whole defense, but you know, we were able to take lead, this is great. But yeah, any other views on how shot players shoot to the right of me while I'm dodge rolling? I mean, I'll show you a picture of like a server rack and just show you a picture of like Ethernet cables and Wi-Fi and satellite internet, and that might help give a picture. Is bad. Like, I know the common meme. I know the common meme is like Tetra play, and like Suns is a Tetra player for anyone that doesn't know. But a lot of like, it's a common thing where it's like, oh, Tetras are so laggy. Like every Tetra player is like super laggy. It's just kind of like a meme. But the netcode does that weapon so dirty. Sometimes in its favor, sometimes against it. But like the game, the way that Nintendo has their netcode, like it does not work for something like Tetris. And again, sometimes it's like in their favor, sometimes it really screws them over. This game is fascinating. Like seeing little clips of people looking at hitboxes and like showing certain things. There was a clip that I saw. It was on Inkblot, but like let's say there, where's a flat here? Yeah. Whatever. We'll use this corner as an example. So let's say there was a charger sitting here watching the corner, and then there was like it was just a shooter. They ended up squid rolling, but on this person's screen that's dodging the charger shot, they were behind cover the entire time before they squid rolled. But on the charger screen, for like a couple of frames, this person like poked out. Like it showed them here, and they were open for the shot and they died. But on this person's screen, they never went past this corner. Like, this game is just not constructed in a way that should be taken seriously. Like, I love Nintendo, I love this game, you know. I say all of this somewhat half joking, but also like fix your stuff, but also like I'm gonna play it anyways because I love this game. But yeah, no, this game is just bad. Those are exactly my thoughts. Nice, we got lead time to defend and win with no specials, no map control. Yeah, we're gonna struggle. Jamie had the funniest clip from Splat 2. Charger Lizard through a box. Oh no. Wait, if you have the clip, I'd love to see it. Holy. Oh, sorry. Oh no. Alright, let me get back to the match. So yeah, if I'm you in this spot, I'm tempted to like... I'd be tempted to play an overly aggressive play because I'm like one of the first people coming in. And I just want to find like a pick. Like, I'm gonna play really ratty here, potentially. You can play it more honest, but I'd be very tempted to just, like I said before, I'd be very tempted to sit like all the way over here and hope that someone pushes through this far side and just like get a bomb at their feet or just like get the free pick or something. If we're able to get a pick here, it like significantly stalls their team's momentum. Yeah. And they do a good job of like jerking and finding you first, but yeah, that's tough. Okay. Understandably so, they're able to get the pick. Honestly, like, in this spot, like, I'm chilling. Can I push? Yeah, you're good, you're good. I'm actually chilling in this type of spot. Also, it doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna give you... I have like a million VIP rolls, so I'll give you a VIP. Same thing with Fizzy. There's a lot of people. I never use like... I'm like the worst in terms of like streamer technology. But like all the regulars definitely have to have VIP. Fizzy, Sons. There's gotta be others. I'll update that. I'll watch that in a second, but let's get through this match. Anyways, this is not a good push for them. This is the same thing that I said 30 seconds ago when y'all had your push, but like now y'all are chilling. The one thing I will say is like I don't think they use their specials, and y'all still need to build your specials. Yeah, like they're 83 on crab. They can probably paint for their crab pretty fast. Like the little bit of a difference between when y'all wiped and literally had no special, like no one had like 10 or less special charge, like 10% special. They're gonna get special relatively quick. I still think it's probably in your favor. But if I'm you in this spot, you're playing this probably too fast. I can feel the panic oozing through this replay. I do like that you're able to stay alive, but this is not... This is a tough spot. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Oh, we'll let it rock, let it rock. Get the score. Heartbreaking. 3 clams is pretty tough. But I think this is probably... Yeah, this is Jeej. Yeah, that's tough. So after the wipe, you're actually in a really good spot. I do not have my stream set up for the clip, but I will indulge on my other screen. Me behind the wall, I'm safe. Game, are you sure? Oh no. Wait, Jamie got 1k likes, holy. Yeah, that's so bad, what the heck? Dude, there had to have been like desync or something. I've never seen something that egregious. That's hilarious. So, all right, sorry, we got to back it up a little bit more. So after the wipe, I don't know if I can be upset at that point, but yeah, that's awful. So I think the enemy team actually like kind of rushes this a little bit. I'll do a good job of getting the picks and everything. But in the spot, you do need to take space. Like, I love that you're taking space here, but you don't need to go, like, this is too far. In my opinion. Because yes, if you can make it on top of their dome, if you can push past the basket, you give your team a lot of space. But getting through this congested area against these two weapons is not an easy task. So again, I feel like from your perspective, it feels like you're focusing on making a ball, which you shouldn't be doing. I think holding this position and preventing them from getting down here, preventing them from playing over here, preventing them from getting onto this box, like you sitting here has so much value because the enemy team has to sit up here, has to sit, like they're stuck in their base effectively. Let me see if I can get a slightly better. Yeah, so here, like they're stuck up here, they're stuck here, they're stuck here. They cannot push into mid because you're immediately in the spot. So kudos for taking the space. But you're like focusing on making a ball. We don't need this. Like we have a ball. And I think we have a second ball because we're getting this. So like you don't have to make. All we need, like your two clams, just assume someone else on your team is going to get another clam to win the game. Like we're in no position to have to worry about the objective. We're too focused on an objective and it's making us tunnel into like picking this up and then trying to back up. And that's why we get stuck over here. So there's two ideas in this situation. So I'm going to watch this from a higher up perspective. And I think this will help with the positioning. So there's two things that you can do on this map. You can totally just sit here. So basically, if you can sit here and play around this block and prevent the enemy team from backing, like from being able to push past this area, you've done your job. And you getting to the spot immediately, you're chilling. You have to wait for Inkjet 1 or Inkjet 2 or Crab. We're waiting for one of them to get their special. And we just hold. That's all you need to do. And we should win this game. You know, when you're in the position you're in, you know, try to keep this area painted, poke at people if they push up here, you can get a bomb over here, but just slow it down. That's idea one. And I think both of these ideas are good and both of them are game winning. One of them, not that you put yourself in a good enough position to let your teammates use special and you're playing up their special to win, but your role in this is just to allow your team to paint for special and have mid control to be able to get good specials off. Your Crab can sit up here, Crab can sit here. You know, Inkjet can sit, as we were talking about at the beginning, Inkjet can, this is probably too risky, but they can totally get over on this side and y'all can start pushing with this jet. You've done your job by being in this position and now you have too much time to work with and you start like panicking and that's why you like start taking these weird positions. The other idea that's a little bit cuter, a little bit riskier, but a little bit more dominant. So I think with the push that you need, so this goes back to like where we're at in the match. So you need a very tiny push. You need Power Clam plus 2 or 3. Power Clam plus 3. Imagine me being able to do math. Power Clam plus 3 for a lead and to win the game. This is the final push. That is not hard to accomplish at all. Especially when we have 7 clams. We potentially have a Power Clam. But either way, this person can make a clam. We're chilling. The other idea that you can have, and I would go for this other idea if you needed a bigger push. So if this push was to like 13, just getting a score is not, in a few clams is not going to be enough. And we probably want to take a little bit more risk instead. So if we needed a bigger push, and this is a clam blitz specific play, you might be able to do it in no, I think it's clam blitz only. You can use this block and jump up to this snipe up here. So if you wanted to push through, which is a very dominant position, if you can hold this type of spot, these people have to play from like, now they're playing from like back here, which gives your team full space to just push in. And if you needed a bigger push, I would probably, like you could, like in the spot you're in, your team realistically, if you win your fights and you get value out of your special, you can totally KO with this current setup that you have. But if you wanted to force more space, or like let's say this is early on in the game and there's an opportunity for your team to get a big push, if you wanted to go for a more greedy play, I think you have to climb the block from this wall if I'm not mistaken. So it is a little bit scary, but you're already here. Like you took space fast, so it allows you to go for this type of routing without being too scared. But you have, like, you jump over here, and because you're a dually, you get to like roll back into ink. And you probably have to play on like this backside, or you can even play all the way on this grate potentially. Like you have to play farther back because like these things can potentially poke you and stop you. But if they're focusing their attention on you over here, your teammates just run in for free and you're like super chilling. So that's just another way that you can structure this entire setup. And that's the other, like, that's just the thing you want to think about based off of like the conditions on the conditions of the game. You don't need a big push. So I personally wouldn't take the risk in this situation, but if we needed a bigger push, I would totally take the risk. And someone better than me would, you know, they're like, oh, I'm comfortable as VDS. If I can jump up here for free and I have 2 rolls to dodge these weapons and I have teammates immediately pushing in. So like someone, again, a better player would probably take this jump and I would be like, damn, that's really smart. Really, you know, I'd give them so much kudos. This probably is the better play, but like you can get away with being very safe. Just poke at this area and allow your teammates to get in range to use their specials, you know, somewhere behind this line. And they can inkjet over, they can crab on top of this block, and then you get like a nice score and everything. But you can see how like those 2 routings make a difference in the way that the enemy team has to reposition. Because if you play around the blocks, like if you're playing where you're at now, enemy team can take dome and they can play like, you know, they can play this kind of situation and there's not a ton you can do about it until you have your specials. So this is like you holding this position. But yeah, if you make that jump to dome and you were able to stay alive, then the enemy team has to play like, they'll probably still sit like here. Like as your teammates start to push in and you over here can like watch this whole area and control this whole area, the enemy team has to play behind the basket, which is the bigger difference here. You can force them to play behind the basket by taking a more risky path, which in this case, I don't think is that risky because again, you're really good at just like, oh, you know, it's time for me to move forward. I'm good to go. And you have the confidence. Like this is the value. Like when we were talking before about pushing against the tri-stringer that was sitting top mid and when they're by themselves, the difference between you immediately pushing them and then you holding back here until both teams push back in. This is kind of the difference for your aggressive push. The fact that you immediately push allows you to take this type of position. But if you didn't fully wipe them and they were able to like hold control and stuff, they probably already have someone up here and you're fine defaulting to this type of position instead. And you have to respect this person. So that's kind of just like how this entire play comes out. But yeah, now you're just in like a weird spot. Realistically, those people aren't gonna like push you. I think you're scared someone's gonna drop. Like someone's probably not gonna drop in this spot. I would potentially look to throw bombs like around this pillow though. I think that's something that you can do. Like you need to route yourself up over here, which you end up doing. Like you waste time like focusing on someone dropping. They're not gonna drop in this spot. Like it's not to say like there will be someone in some of your games that will drop, but like especially the 2 backliners, they're not gonna drop here. Like if I'm splash, like I'm trying to get to dome, and if I'm 52, I need to play like I want to get my wall to block off the choke point that they're trying to push through to score. No one on the enemy team has time to deal with this, so you can cheat a little bit and just like look to be as fast as possible to get into position. Because the little bit of a stagger that you have is like your teammates are fighting. Like if you're faster, you can play with this inkjet, but because you're so slow, your inkjet dies before you're able to get into position. And again, these are like these just tiny little windows of like a few seconds making the difference. We're constant, like there's so many examples of this match where like 1 or 2 seconds is just like the constantly the difference between great push versus good push. And sometimes you were on the good side of it, but there was a lot of times where you weren't on the good side when you totally, you know, could have just held forward. And like this is where, you know, it's like the curve of like, you know, like really new players are gonna like, oh, I'm just gonna hold forward and just try to take fights. And like as you get better, you're like slow down, you're like thinking about a bunch of stuff and you're like thinking about ranges, thinking about, you know, am I safe to this? Like there's a lot of calculation and people are playing slower. And then like at a certain point, like the top players are doing the same thing as the newer players. Like I'm just gonna hold forward because it's so important to take positions and like understanding why you're taking like why you're moving forward fast and like knowing what you need to do when you move forward. Like that's like the difference between a new player and a top player. But like that mentality of like I'm going forward kind of thing, like just W key. It like it is like a philosophy that you move forward with. That's a funny thing in like card games that I played where like the new player in the like for aggro decks and stuff, like new players in card games, they'll play very aggressive decks because usually they're cheaper and there's a lot of reasons why, and they're easy to pilot, but like they won't worry about all these like variables and stuff. They'll just like try to end the game as fast as possible. And like, you know, as you get better, you try to be more thoughtful about the way you play. And then like as a top player, you just anytime you can move forward, you just take it. So it's yeah. But like these little timing windows are what causes all these issues. Because like you had the resources, you had the setup, just as a VDS or CDS, VDS, CDV. This is a vanilla VDS. We're unsure on like how we fit into the puzzle. And in certain cases, when you're holding this type of spot immediately, you don't have to like it's okay to just chill until your teammates are ready to go. If you wanted to take the aggressive route, then you like if you how do I explain it? It's like if you're playing a platformer, for example, and like a lot of times like different platforms and stuff move in cycles. And it's like if you wanted to one cycle it, this is your one cycle path. But because we didn't immediately go for this type of play, like we can't cycle to like take this kind of push. Like the other, if we don't take this on the first cycle, then we just sit here and wait for our team. Nintendo gamers play platformers, right? They have to. Because this game was very back and forth. I think both teams threw multiple times. If I'm going to be quite honest, both teams are constantly fumbling this game. But yeah, overall, I love your ideas. I think, like, I love your general ideas. I think you understand that you need to play fast, which is good. It's a lot, like, you're thinking about the game the way that you need to in order to continue to improve. So I'm really happy to see that. I think it would help you a lot because I can feel so much panic throughout the match, which I get the same way. I'm the type of person that needs a lot of preparation and I need a lot of like, what am I trying to say? I like having time. Like this is why I like doing VOD reviews. This is why I like talking about the game outside of just playing it. Like some people just love like grinding. Like again, there's plenty of players that are more successful than me that like don't try to, I'm sure they do certain amounts of VOD review and stuff, but like, you know, they're happy to just like play the game and like they just figure stuff out and they're like mechanically like gifted and stuff. One cycle is a good analogy. Nice. Wait, what do you speedrun? I'm actually interested. But yeah, I'm a type of player that I need to think about stuff beforehand. I need a lot of time to think about stuff. I can adapt in certain situations, but only because I have a good understanding of a lot of, or I try to build a good understanding, do a lot of research, watching other people's games, you know, VOD reviewing my own matches, VOD reviewing other matches, which, you know, helps me watching you all play. Because like, again, if I'm in the spot that you're in at the very end here, I'm not looking for this dome play. I'm gonna be honest. This is me pulling back the curtain. I can always look like the smartest person in the room because I have infinite time and I can control time when I'm VOD reviewing. I'm gonna be honest. If I'm the VDS in this situation, I'm probably not gonna go for these clams at the end and feed. Hadn't time? Yo, that's sick. I was watching Ify was playing that a little bit ago. Another awesome streamer. Friend of the stream. Shout out to Ify, wherever you may be at this point in time. But they play a lot of random platformers. That game looks super sick. I've never played it myself, but that's awesome. Sim 64? Yo, that's awesome. But yeah. And like, this is why watching other people's review, like this review helps me, because if I'm in this situation, which I don't know when I'm playing Clan Blitz on this map, some solo queue rotation, I'm not going to go for the pod, but I would just sit here. And I'd probably go through the game, and I'm probably not going to bother view my own random solo queue game. I would miss out. Like, in the moment, I 1000% would have missed out on this play. And I either would have like tried to like thread the needle here, which would have got me killed, or realistically, I'm probably playing off of my specials, like my teammate specials in mid, and I'm just going to sit back here. I'm going to throw bombs in this area. But, you know, because I have more time, I can think about like, oh yeah, like there's this area. And so now when I watch other Clan Blitz, it's like, oh yeah, like this is definitely a path you can take. But in the moment, I'm not making that play. In the moment, in the future, for this specific map mode, I probably will now, but before I wouldn't. Oh, what am I doing? We're wrapping stuff up. Yeah, overall, awesome gameplay. You definitely held your own against some like very talented players. So like overall, very much kudos. But we need to understand, like, I think you understand we need to take space. We need to like, I think you understand the general pieces of like how to be like, you know, at least wherever my brain's at currently. And again, there's stuff that top players are doing that I'm probably not even thinking about at this point in my educational journey, learning the game. But you know, like I can see your brain spinning in the same way that I would. We just need to better understand like why we're doing stuff. So I think we want to be the annoying toddler when I don't know what age it is, but when they get to that phase where they just they ask why for everything, and then you give them an answer, and then they ask why again, and they just keep doing that. This is what we need to be doing about our gameplay. At a certain point, we can stop when we're satisfied with the answer. We don't have to continue asking ourselves why and annoy ourselves. But I have the worst analogies this review. But we want to do that. So like if we're sitting here, if we go back into the review and it's like, oh man, we probably could have pushed the or like, you know, with the tri-stringer here, and we're in this position, and then we go for this play, and like you were talking about, oh man, like I was thinking about pushing this, but I was too scared. You know, that's when you start going down the why rabbit hole of like, you know, why do I need to push this person? Because they're like, there's a lot of different reasons. A, they're sitting in top mid and I want top mid, and we had an advantage. It was like a 3v1. Your teammates were spawning in, but basically you effectively had a 1v1 against this this tri-stringer, but like your team was coming in before their team, which is an important caveat to consider, because you don't have to win the fight. You don't have to get a pick on this person to bully them off. They know that they don't have a lot of time. The second they feel any pressure, they have to get out. Because if they don't, if they like try to stay a little bit too long, then the teammates that are coming in from your team, they're gonna swing around and like get this pick, and then this tri-stringer dies, they're staggered, and then your team gets a good push. So why do we push this? A, because we don't respect tri-stringers. I love all tri-stringer players. We don't respect tri-stringers until we don't respect tri-stringers until they've like hit us with a million shots, like a Irito from I don't know if they're, I think it might be a free agent, but they were on Expresso before. They're like a really good tri-stringer. I've been punished enough by them in scrims in the past. I respect Irito's tri-stringer. I think Setu also plays tri-stringer, and I think I've been punished in solo queue by them. I respect their tri-stringer, but until I know a specific person, I'm like, okay, I know that they're gonna, and like even in those spots, you still have to push them in certain spots. Like even if this was like Setu or something, you know, even if it's a tri-stringer I respect in the spot, I'm still pushing it because it's still that much of an advantage for me. Yeah. Setu is like I might be mispronouncing. They're like a higher mid-level. It might be high level. I don't know. I'd probably say like higher mid-level. Definitely a little bit above where I'm at now. Backliner. They're not a tri-stringer main, but they just like play a bunch of backline stuff. And I've played against their tri-stringer in the past. I've seen them play Jed. I've seen them play, you know, Splatlings. Fizzy, I was saying that I don't respect any Tri-Stringer players. And Sons was like, think about Fizzy and their emotions. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. But also, if I see Fizzy, I'm pushing them every time. You know. But, you know, why do we want to push this person off? Because we want top mid. And because it's advantageous for us to make this push. You know, do we want to push on top of top mid versus running, you know, through the sides and getting behind them? That's up to your discretion. I'm lazy, so I probably have path of least resistance. I probably just climb up here and immediately fight them. But if you wanted to take these side paths, like that's something that you could analyze and practice and, you know, see if that works against, like, it depends on the weapon. If you're playing against like a shooter or something, I probably wouldn't give them an easy opportunity to drop on you. But like, you know, these longer range weapons have a harder time. Like if this was a charger, I probably wouldn't jump up and give the charger an opportunity to get a pick. If this was a charger specifically, I'd almost certainly like, I'd push one of these sides, whichever one I can get to faster. But again, with Tri-Stringer, I don't really respect it. And I could be wrong. I could climb up here, even with a ledge cancel, I could probably still get punished. I'm like, you know, next time maybe I should go through the side. Generally with backliners, I'm okay playing around. But against a Tri-Stringer, there really isn't a wrong answer, let's be real. As long as you get to them, you're chilling. No way. True though. Oh man. I'm stealing that line. Meet me in the gorge. Oh my god, that's hilarious. So yeah, we need to understand, you know, why do we move forward? Why do we take space? Like, I think you understand the general fundamentals, but we need to understand in these specific situations, why do we do these things? Why do we zone out or like use our range? Like, what is the overall goal from a bigger perspective? Why do we need top mid? You know, top mid helps us fight for this area over here. Top mid allows us to fight for this block over here. Top mid allows, you know, we take control of these areas. We force the enemy team to be playing like back here. And if you force the enemy team to be playing back here, then this allows you to use Crab in one of these spots. It allows you to use Inkjet over top here or over here or like back here or something. I don't know. I don't know all the Inkjet routes. I'm sure someone could tell you better answers. But all the stringer. Oh no! I didn't know you played Tri-Stringer Star. Deeply offended. I'm so sorry. I preface all this with I love all Tri-Stringer players, so I think I bail myself out on that. But you know that this is the importance, and it's important to know these things because in this final position, where it's like that final push is like the perfect example. Truthfully, when you're able to get into this position, or like let's just say like you're here immediately, the enemy team isn't set up over here, but it's like, you know, this is why it's important to know the why. Because you could potentially move up this, like you have the space to like hold forward here. Probably going to be met with crossfire and you're probably going to get splatted. But it's like, I can move here, I can play over here, I can go back top mid, I can sit over here. It's like, what do I want to be doing in this type of situation, you know? How do we, you know, I have enough time to do other things. And I think because you had extra time and you weren't fully sure of like how, like why you're doing these things. And the other thing is like, how? We want to know the how for like pushing. How do we score in any given situation? How do we win the game in any situation? And these are things that like VOD reviews help a ton. Is that we can start thinking about all of this. For those goofy stringer players, explosive shots. Yo, what's up? I'm gonna call you Mint. It's Mint, but if you prefer a different name, please let me know. But welcome in, welcome in. I think you understand the fundamentals, but we need to understand like context. We want to be able to answer these questions, and we want the context. Yo, man, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. So yeah, we need to understand context. Sometimes you write a word so much and it doesn't look like you spelled it properly. Is there a T at the end, isn't there? Okay. This actually was spelled incorrectly. Alright, we need to understand the context of like everything. Every situation we're in, we have to be able to answer the why and the how. We understand the fundamentals and at a very high level, you can explain what we need to do at any given situation, but we don't win the game through high level. We understand the game. Choosing Team Mint, let's go, let's go. Yeah, you're in good company here. But why does it matter for us to know the context? It's important because we have to be able to adapt in any given situation. And in a situation where you're able to get this much space after wiping the enemy team, like you go all the way through your side of the map and you can hold right here, and you still have time to work with, it's important for you to be able to adapt. And it's important for you to say, hey, this is enough space for our teammates to get specials. I've taken enough space. I can threaten and I still have room to move backwards. I can play around cover. You know, I can push over here. Like I'm holding. The nice part about this type of position is that you're pretty central to where everything that you need, like you can move forward, which is what you did, which was a little bit greedy. Again, with different pathing, you could potentially make it. But the important thing to recognize here is that you're central to like a bunch of threats, which if you push forward and you're central, then like they're gonna probably punish you. But you have so many ideas that you can commit to here. Like early on in the game, you were focused, like you can rotate over here if you want to just pressure this area. You can hold your position here and pressure this area over here. You're able, you know, if you wanted to rotate down here and push people off these grates, which no one ever uses, but if they did decide to use it, it's like you're in a position where you can rotate and you can back up and like move back to your team. You have so much flexibility. But right now, you can't make use of the flexibility. Like the best thing you can do as a competitive player is to give yourself options. And when you have options, like options can almost be a problem if you don't know what to do. Like it can be like information overload, or like not information, but like there's like a cute phrase for it where like if you decision fatigue or something, there's some word for it where like if you have too many ideas to evaluate, you like don't do any of them properly. And like we're always under pressure as competitive players, so it's a very easy thing to fall into if you don't understand like context of situations and you don't understand the why and you don't understand the how. And with a lot of players, it's like you need to like explain the fundamentals before they can start applying it. But you're at the spot where like you know the answers. Here's another analogy, probably equally as bad as the first three I did before. But like, you know, it's like with your current Splatoon knowledge, if you were given a multiple choice Splatoon test about, you know, this Inkling is traveling at 80 miles an hour, this other Inkling's traveling at 60, one left at 10. No, I'm kidding. So like if you had to answer a multiple choice test about Splatoon, like you're acing that, you're chilling. You just wipe the enemy team. What do you do next? Move forward? Paint your base? Jump off the map? Like you're acing that. However, the second that you have those annoying teachers that like want you to actually learn the material and actually have you grasp the different concepts, and they tell you like, you know, they give you a bunch of like open-ended answers where you have to like show a bunch of work and like talk through your ideas and stuff. This is what the game is throwing you constantly. Every time you play the game, you don't get the multiple choice questions. You get the long form discussions or essays, or like, here's a really long problem that has like 20 different parts that they always throw it at the back, like on the very last page, and you never give yourself enough time for it. We've all been there. But yeah, you're in a spot where it's not that you can't, because you put some of the answers, like some of the long form questions that this game threw at you, you did a really good job at answering them and you aced it. But there's a lot of them where you need to continue to learn so that we are able to adapt when they throw that type of situation at us. And that's just like the biggest thing. Understanding when we need to take mid, understand if we're ahead of the I don't know if cycle's the right word in this type of context, but like if we're ahead of like the rest of our team pushing in, like what do we do with this time? And it's going to change depending on the scenario. You know, do we shark? Like, do we back up a little bit and find the place to shark? Do we fight for control in this area? So that, you know, they can't move out of their base? Is it important for us to make sure that we're like backing up even more so we can watch the drop? And like some of this is going to depend on like the tendency of the enemy team. It's going to depend on like, you know, what our win condition is in the situation. And that's why like just understanding and getting a lot of repetition, because a lot of it is like exposure. Like you're not going to be able to answer all these questions. Just like I could sit you into replays for like till the end of time, and you're still not going to be able to 100% fully understand the game. Like you have to keep playing the game. You have to keep applying. This is something that like over a long period of time, you're going to continue to improve on, which is the exciting part about the game. You know, there's always new stuff to learn. And like, obviously like you're a very smart player. But just, we need to get ourselves in more complicated situations, and we need to give ourselves more time to answer those questions properly, which, you know, isn't going to help our XP or our power. It's not going to help us in the moment for that, but over the long term, we'll be able to answer those questions better. So when we're in a spot like this, we're not dropping over here and like scared about someone dropping down here, and so we miss out on this timing window when our teammates are using their specials, you know, because we end up doing a lot of panic, which is what's causing this. Like I feel the panic, and you just need more time and more exposure. So when you get into these interesting situations, you know, this is where VOD reviews help in getting a different perspective. It can be from me, it can be from someone else. You know, getting those second perspectives are really important. But as a player, regardless of what the answer is, I want you to be able to understand these spots. This final spot here, where you move forward and then you drop down over here, I want you to identify that this was a very uncomfortable spot for you. And this is something that you can analyze a little bit deeper. And when you're sitting here trying to jump to your teammate because they just scored a basket and you're trying to take lead, I want you to be able to get to a point where you're like, hey, I don't know, because again, this is the point that I'm at. I don't know what the optimal decision is. Someone could tell me, you know, if a top player said, no, jumping in's perfect in this spot, you just should have jumped in back here, I'd probably believe him. You know, I didn't want to listen and hear them out, but I could be convinced. I don't think that's the right play, but I could be convinced. But I at least understand currently that, like, you know, us taking a lead here and fully wiping, even if we have the lead, the enemy team, like, it took them less than like 7 seconds to counterattack us. Like, they just wiped us, held forward, and immediately took the lead back. And like, fortunately, they played too fast and then they wiped. But yeah, this is like but I want you to identify that this game didn't break down in your defense. It's like, yes, it sucks that you died. Like when you were pushing through, you died to this, I think it was the 52 that was sharking here. But I don't want you to go back to this match and be like, oh man, if I just like I don't want you to focus and be like, oh man, when I'm pushing out on defense, like I have to check for all these sharks and stuff. Like this wasn't why you threw the game. you threw the game with the push before kind of thing. So, you know, I'm not trying to sound like, hopefully I don't sound too harsh, because overall I think you played this really well. But you're at this point where like you understand all the basics, and now you're getting like, now if you want to continue to improve, because yeah, you're sitting at like, you know, 2400 plus, but like, yeah, if you want to get to like the 2700 and you want to be able to compete with top players, we have to be thinking about the bigger picture, which, you know, if your mechanics are cracked and better at anyone else, like if your mechanics are better than anyone else, then like you don't have to listen to me. You just take fights and you win. Yo, Voided Paradigm, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate you. Welcome in, everyone. Forgot the raid message. It's okay. I don't have raid messages. I like the authenticity from everyone else. We're chilling. But welcome in, everyone. How's the stream? How's the games? But like, you're at a spot right now. We're doing some VOD reviews. But Plurm, right now you're at a spot where you're like, yo, Amy, holy yeehaw. Welcome in. All the gamers. What the? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just cover up your message with a bunch of notes. But welcome in, everyone. Oh, appreciate y'all. Unfortunately, I'm about to like skedaddle because I have to work in the morning. But thank you so much. How are the games? How was the everything? And also, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably a fake fan. I don't think if I check right this second, I probably don't have you I probably don't have you followed. I'm so fake for that, and I'm about to change that immediately. Alright, I got you that follow. Don't you worry, my friend. I'm excited. There's so many people that stream, especially recently, that like, I didn't know that they streamed. I didn't know that you streamed, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure I've seen that you streamed, but I didn't know. And now I'll be into the next stream, as long as I'm awake for it. Fake fan. I'm too fake, dude. I hate it. I'm so sorry. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Play some X rank, which went poorly. That's the game sometimes. Vibed with a puzzle game, a little to the left. That's interesting. I love puzzle games. I have to like see what that's about. But thank you so much for the raid. Yeah, I'm Reborn, and I put the crap hat on. I think I have that somewhere. I can buy time with an introduction. Yeah, I'm Reborn. I'm a mid-level, forgettable competitive player, but I'm trying to improve. On a team, I focus a lot on competition. Specifically on the competitive side, I'm focused on like thinking about the game and like using your brain when it comes to like using your specials and pushing and everything else. Still have a lot of learning to do, but I enjoy teaching what I have. The knowledge that I have, I love teaching other people, and yeah, my goal is to create an environment for others to be able to learn together. Recently I've been doing a lot of free VOD reviews. So if you join the Discord in the chat, all I ask, join the Discord so I can stay organized. And this is the crap hat that Amy. It's a little broken, so it's hard to tell. But my head is massive. This thing does not fit. This is like, when I bought this hat, it was like, I don't think it's for a kid. I think it's just because dude, I look so good. I think this hat is adult size, but my head is just massive. It's actually massive. That's why I wear the headband to cover up the forehead. Only few people know that. Not really, but also maybe a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, it just has to sit on the back, but you can't really see the eyeballs. That's the closest we got. Anyways, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate everything. Return to Crow. Yeah. I need to get more quirky hats. I love watching Shirt and like all the different hats and stuff that he has. Super sick. Never put the mint headband. That's true. I will be wearing the mint headband for the Splatfest. That's a really excellent observation. But yeah, I like doing a lot of other reviews. I just like talking about the game. There's a lot of interesting spots in all of the reviews that we've done. Wait, did I just do 2 reviews today? Time flies when you're having fun, huh? You only did like 2 reviews. Sheesh. There were some good conversations though, we have to say. But I need to catch up because at some point that mid-season patch is going to happen and it's going to wipe all the replays. So we're going to be doing a lot of VOD reviews over the weekend because there's not a lot of competitive stuff going on. So we're going to have some longer streams. We're going to be pumping through a bunch of reviews. So if you're interested, I will shamelessly plug. Feel free to follow, you know, so on and so forth. Can wait till tomorrow. Thank you. Patch notes should be next week. Oh no. It is a reality. Like I say it, I'm like, oh man, I'm getting ahead of it. But yeah, I think it's a closer reality than I truly understand. So yeah, I'm actually going to. Oh yeah, we didn't look at the stats though. Let me look at the stats. Yeah, it's like 9 and 9 is like fine. Like overall, I think the way you played it was like okay, but I think the bigger issue here was like the timing of these 9 deaths were like really bad. Like really, really, really bad. But we went over everything. Stats often we don't have to worry about too much, but that's the story that I see. I'm generally fine with this. In certain context, I'm fine with this 9 deaths. If one of these 9 deaths happened in the final push, if we took the... So when there was this corridor, if we jumped to their dome over here, if we take fights and we end up dying over here, that could be a good death. But the death that we ended up having was after our teammates used specials and after they, like most of them went down. So that death was like bad, which I mean, in that spot, it's like whatever. But yeah, we went through all the decisions. Looking at stats here is kind of inconsequential. And I always say like stats don't really tell any story. Sometimes they can help provide some context, but yeah, I don't know. 9 and 9 isn't generally like a great stat line, but like VDS, it's totally fine in a lot of spots. You're going to be annoying and like depending on your build, I didn't even look at your build, but I know that like someone like Jared plays a lot of like quick respawn on like they just play like very aggressive and they're just constantly feeding. And like if you play that kind of route with VDS, then you know, those types of stats are totally going to be fine, or it's like an even stat line. But either way, the biggest thing is that we weren't able to work with our team as much as we would like to when it came to playing with specials. Playing against Twig, yeah, there's a lot of, there's also Joe from I think Joe's like a div. I don't know what they're at now. It'd probably be like at least, I'd probably say like div 1. They could be low level div X. Okay, if top teams didn't show up for because a lot of times the top teams don't sign up for Ludi. Joe and Nightmare, or whatever team they're on now. Like I know that's the team. I don't know the team. I think they're still Nightmare. They're just like they have this like Sway sponsorship or whatever. But they're not paying me, so I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to box that one out. You got to pay me to talk about your product. I say as I sip my Starbucks coffee. Anyways, yeah, they would 100% be DivX. Like based off the teams that normally sign up for Ludi, they're 1,000. Like they're probably like the best team to sign up for Ludi, realistically. But in context of like all the teams in the game, like they're on the very bottom of the totem pole of like top teams, or they're like at the very top above everyone else in terms of like the mid high level type of area. Very solid play. All I'm trying to say is that you played against really good players and you held your own. There's small decisions that we could have made instead of panicking that would have potentially made the difference. So I agree with you. Your initial assessment of like where things went wrong, I 100% agree. But I think the way that I approach it is, or like the reasons of why and like how we could have played it a little bit different, I think is, you know, I approach it a little bit different. And I think you, hopefully I was able to explain that. Anyways, yeah, no, I appreciate all of the convos, appreciate all of the gameplay. Again, I'm going to shamelessly, if you want to submit a review, get them in the next couple of days before we close for the new patch. YouTube channel, eventually another vid's going to be up. I have a mini series I'm going to be doing on painting, but I'm so bad at structuring videos. but feel free to follow on there. All of these reviews get condensed onto the main channel, so feel free to join that. And if you ever want to rewatch a VOD that goes away after 30 days or whatever on Twitch, all of the VODs get archived. Sometimes a little bit slower than others. I knew you would say something like that. You're not wrong though, but so many people, they need the info. I have to talk about the boring stuff because people always talk about the exciting stuff. But yeah, there's that VOD channel if you're just ever interested, or if you want to watch these VODs back in full, they're available there. Yeah, anyways, yeah, thank you for all the new followers, the returning people, a lot of friendly faces that I haven't seen in a while that I was able to see, so it's always awesome to see. Para, thank you for the raid. Nice to see you, Amy, and everyone else. Oh, I didn't even acknowledge the people there, but Conk, welcome. Sea Silvers, welcome. Is it BB Bun Bun? That's fun to say, but I don't know if you go by like Bun Bun or BB. I don't know. I think I've seen you play with Amy before. I think y'all played like some like cooking game or something. Like one of those annoying multiplayer games where you have to like work together and stuff. But I don't think I'm following you. I'm a fake fan. I don't follow you as well, but I just changed that. Either way, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for everything. And yeah, like I said, this weekend we will be back with some longer streams. We need to get through these reviews. There's a lot of really interesting competitive matches. There's some lore behind some of the matches that I'm really excited for. And yeah, hopefully we can all learn a little bit with them all. But I'm going to go raid Jen. Jen is I think they play a lot of Salmon Run generally, but they also like they can hold their own when it comes to competitive. I feel like every Salmon Run gamer is just like a competitive player, like in disguise or in denial or something. It's just like they can be really good at the game, and the few people that started playing competitive that I know was like Salmon Run players, like they're all really good at the game. But yeah, no problem, Plarm. I appreciate you. That was a really, really good game to pick. I think you picked out a really awesome review. But yeah, Jen is amazing. I haven't seen them stream as much recently, so hopefully they're back on the grind because their stream's always very chill. I always say it, but Salmon Runners have the coolest chats on Splatoon Twitch. So okay, perfect. I had the right person. Yeah. Welcome in. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, no, I appreciate the name. if I can be able to say BB Bun Bun, good times. But yeah, Jen's awesome. Definitely give them a follow. Their chat's super chill, very funny, very entertaining, and just overall a good time. So definitely show them some love if you don't know who they are, and if you do, then obviously you'll fit right in. But yeah, take care, everyone. Drink water like I need to do, and hopefully you'll have a nice ease into the weekend that we have coming up. So take care, everyone. Bye. This crap, that is ridiculous.